Hello everyone, CMeeCraft here, and welcome to the stream. Hello, Jedi Steve, welcome. Yeah, so today it's more Fate Stay Nights, because we're still on this. As for the rest of this week, only one more other stream this week. It's December, y'all. Like, I've got other things I gotta do in life, unfortunately. Yeah, the Tuesday stream, so tomorrow, 10 p.m., we'll be playing Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls, which will be the first stream of that game, so, get excited. No need to be worried about, like, oh no, I haven't watched, like, 35 hours of previous streams, I'm gonna be completely lost. No, you won't tomorrow. Tomorrow's your chance to get on board on the ground level. But yeah, that should be, that's that. In terms of next week, I know it's a bit early to be talking about next week already, but there's probably not going to be any streams next week, and maybe not even any the week after, depending on how things go. Holidays and stuff, I've got plans, so we might take a bit of a hiatus there for a couple weeks. But yeah. Anyway, I am a busy man, so I've got things to do, so let's get started. Here we go. I guess we'll be continuing. Hopefully that gets me to the right save file. We are on February 13th. Hope it doesn't take us so long to get through this game that we end up overlapping the real world dates. Anyways, the sky is gray, the hill crimson with corpses. Because there's something else I'm working on sort of in private where the dates are lining up kind of with the current dates, which is funny. Anyways, that's beside the point, though. The heavy clouds drift away, heralding the battle's end. I know this scene. I've seen it so many times now. This is one of Saber's battles. She fought and won so many victories, scenes like this are almost commonplace for her. Afterwards, she will return to her castle, where her victory will be praised and celebrated. Then she will prepare for the next battle. This is just life for her. It is only one of the 12 great battles she fought. And so she does not truly remember victory so much as she just accepts it as a fact. I think she's misguided. This is not a dream. It's just a cold reality. Her past that can't be changed. The moment she drew the sword, she stopped being human. She took over for her father as a feudal lord and became a king with many knights. She was known as King Arthur and Altria. The life of the girl who once aspired to be a knight changed so radically. No. Was forced to end her life as she knew it, might be a better way to put it. In that instant, the girl who still had such childlike features ceased to be, and became the king of knights. She acted like she was the king's son. The ruler of territories and knights had to be male. Only her father and the mage knew the king was female. She covered herself in iron and hid that truth for the rest of her life. I don't know why I never realized the implications until now. As much public exposure as she had, she managed to pass herself off as a male the whole time? The sheer suffering she likely endured must have been incredible, but a simple observer could never really understand. Time passes. 10 years worth of memories as king. And there is only one common thread that entire time. Even when she's on the throne. Even when she's walking through the hallway. Even when she's on the battlefield. Not a soul spoke to her. Even the round table, filled as it was with knights boasting of their valor, always fell silent the moment the king appeared. So that's what it meant. She was merely tolerated as an idol. Many knights looked down on Altria with her boyish appearance, and were ultimately not comfortable in trusting her with their blades. But because she managed to draw the sacred sword that no one else could, they had to obey, even if only to keep up appearances. They just accepted the disgrace, believed it would pass. Sacred sword or no, the king was merely a child. Even with Merlin's support, the king would surely fail eventually. When that happens, they need only take the sacred sword from her and select a new king. That's probably what most of the knights thought. But that's not how it went. The knight only just reaching adulthood was a flawless king. She enforced peace among the squabbling lords and fought off invaders as well. Of course, this wasn't due to the sacred sword's powers. The sacred sword only protects the king. The king, on the other hand, protects their nation. And through her deeds, she was always able to maintain control of her knights. The sacred sword protects her only from her enemies. It does nothing to help her hold sway over the hearts of her subjects. She worked herself to the bone to be the ideal king to all. At that point, the knights had no choice but to obey. They held their dissatisfaction for the young king in check, because the king was truly perfect. She strived to be an ideal king. The only condition for the knights' support was that their king be exactly that, the ideal king. There was no room for Altria to be a human being. She could be a king, and only a king. The peerless knight who drew the sacred sword, who stopped aging from that moment, and who went on to win 12 great wars. The more perfect she became, the more people stayed away from her. As this continued, the king grew more and more isolated. That was who she was. But she did well. In fact, she did too well. She defeated her enemies and minimized her own side's casualties. No matter the battle, sacrifices must be made. So she believed it was her duty to make sacrifices, to bolster her army, and to defeat the enemy without wasting lives. And it's like when I'm playing a Fire Emblem game. It's so hard not getting the stuff. Didn't you already do this part? I don't know, maybe I just pressed continue. This might be a different one. It's familiar, at least. She would strip resources from one village, prepare her army, then defeat the invaders before they could strike her land, saving perhaps 10 villages. I think it's somewhat different, maybe? I don't know. It's been a bit. That was the king's approach, and it proved the best strategy at the time. But the knights must not have been happy. To them, only the foreign invaders should have died, and the only true victory is made without any such sacrifices. There shouldn't be any need to sacrifice a territory before battle. They were going to win regardless, so the sacrifices were pointless. There wouldn't be any sacrifices, so the king's actions were a waste. It was, of course, total nonsense. Once battle began, the knights spared not a thought for those little villages. No one thought twice about trampling the villages. Protecting them was never a consideration. The knights claim there's nothing to be done when the enemy destroys such villages, but to let them be destroyed is a great crime. Obviously, she knew that. But a king cannot worry about their personal feelings. She had to kill her emotions to make her decisions, and her knights had to suppress their own feelings to obey. And so sacrifices are made, and that string of victories stabilizes the nation. And in return, animosity for the king grew. King Arthur just doesn't understand how people feel. So one knight was heard to say as they left the castle, "What a ridiculous story. She was expected not to be human, but they hated her precisely because she didn't have human emotions." The age of war continued. The animosity of the knights who had been dissatisfied with the king only grew more so after that knight left. They forced her to deal with every foreign and domestic enemy in hopes of pushing her over the edge. Collapse was imminent. If these many problems confronting the nation were never resolved, it would crumble. Even if all of them were to be resolved, what awaits is more of the same. But that did not concern the king. Even should she be abandoned, feared, or betrayed, she will remain steadfast, because she had long since made up her mind. She abandoned her emotions the moment she decided to draw that sword. This happened long, long ago. Knights from across the nation gathered to try to draw the sword from the stone, but none of them could do it, and the knights instead showcased their skill on horseback, eager to crown the best among them king. The knights flocked to the arena in droves. The sword in the stone lay outside, forgotten. From afar, it looked more like a festival. Even in the distance, the sound of valiant cavalrymen clashing is audible. The knights clashed in the distance, and the rock lay forgotten. What was going through the girl's mind as she stood in front of the rock? Before she realized it, an unknown mage stood behind her. Think before you take hold of that. He tries to stop her, for her own good. The moment you take that sword, you will cease to be human. He also warned her that many would hate her, that she would die a gruesome death. She must have been terrified. The mage showed her the future. He showed her the end she would meet if she drew that sword. No. It only made her all the more determined. Even after seeing that future, she only gave a firm nod. The mage asked again if that was what she wanted. I saw many people smiling. So this cannot be a mistake. Yes, I would say the mage is likely Merlin. That would make sense. Oh, come to think of it, isn't there a mage in the Grail War? Oh, what if it's Merlin? That would be so terrifying and tragic. She took the sword in her hand. The mage looked troubled and turned away. Miracles come at a price. You will pay with what is most precious to you. He departed with those prophetic words. That's right. She just wanted to protect everyone. But to do so, she had to abandon her desire to protect people. She cannot protect her country as its king if she still has a human heart. Even knowing this, she drew the sword. Even knowing this, she vowed to live as a king. So no matter what happens, she will remain steadfast. She abandoned her human heart. She was willing to give that up to protect her nation. Who could have known the girl made such a noble oath? She was determined to fight. Come what may, and however might end, she still decided to fight. Even if an inevitable solitary doom awaited her. And her end did come. The Battle of Comlan. King Arthur set out on a campaign, and one of her knights usurped her throne, splitting the nation in two and sparking a terrible conflict. Legend has it that this battle brought an end to the knighthood and chivalry. You haven't seen Castor yet? I don't think so. Last major thing we did is we fought Heracles, or a berserker. But I don't think we've seen Castor. I think Castor's the one we haven't seen thus far. We've seen Assassin and Lancer. And obviously, Rider, Berserker are dead. So, and Archer. But yeah, I don't think we've seen Castor so far. She killed every knight who once served her, and invaded the land she'd fought to defend. All the knights who followed her were gone, and her own body lay injured and immobile. There's no one left around her. As ever, nothing has changed. All she had in her heart was the pride of a king. She'd known about this ending. Still, she believed there was something to be gained from this failure, which is why she kept fighting without ever failing or disgracing herself. She had not regrets? I'm going to assume that she had no regrets. Regrets she had not. If she were to have one, it would be seeing her nation in ruin. She raised her gaze. Maybe she would be able to see her castle in the distance from this hill. She saw only the aftermath of the battle, a dense forest and a lake to which she must return. That's right. The hill she'd meant to charge over has become a wall she can't climb. Strength left her body. For the first time, she loosened her grip on the sacred sword. And that's where it ended. It was only natural that the dream would end here, since there was nothing beyond that moment in her memories. And that is why the end cannot be rewritten. She worked so hard, and she was resented, betrayed. Nobody understood that she loved her people more than her nation. She came to be known as a merciless king. She was never rewarded or understood. On top of the crimson-stained, sword-strewn hill, the girl sat on the edge of death, isolated and betrayed. Yikes. What a way to go. I wake to the sound of rain. It's morning. I grip my spinning head and sit up. It's just before 6 o'clock. The rain patters softly outside. That dream I just had. No, there's no doubt about it. It was Saber's past. It was the end of her life a long, long time ago. Nothing can change it now. I grit my teeth. I can hear them grinding. I don't know why, but I'm so mad. Damn, what the hell was that? Just thinking about it pisses me off. Her past, the fact that she didn't think anything of it, me thinking the dream was nothing before. Ugh. I hate it. I don't even understand why, but it's making me angry. I don't like it. I don't like it one damn bit. No matter how you slice it, her life was unfair. So unfair. Oh, that'll be an important detail later? Okay. Noted. She only wanted to help people. She wanted nothing for herself. But as hard as she worked, nobody understood her. Not even at the very end. That really pisses me off. It's so unfair. That's right. She worked harder than anyone, and she doesn't receive any reward? It's all just a bunch of crap. She should be rewarded for everything she's done. Well, I mean, luckily we're seeking the Grail, right? That's a reward, is it not? All the more reason to win this thing. But how could that happen at this point? What, just tell her she did a good job? Do I tell her how wonderful she was? Of course not. Nothing so simple could do her justice. I know. There's only one answer. Right, okay. That's right. If she's to be rewarded, the work she devoted her life to should be repaid. Ultra needs happiness to match all the battles she fought. But then what can I do? I'm out of ideas. I don't have any idea how to make people happy. I'm so useless at this kind of thing. My entire life I've wanted to be a champion of justice, but all I ever did was lend a hand here and there. I believed everyone around me would be happy if I just helped people. Or rather, I couldn't face myself if I didn't believe that. Helping people and saving people are very much not the same thing. And if I don't understand the difference myself, I can't possibly reward Saber. Breakfast is the same as usual. I get the sense Saber and Tasaka are pretty adaptable since they've already gotten used to Ilya being around. So, what are you going to do, Shiro? In what respect? There are 3 masters left. The Holy Grail War isn't exactly never-ending, so you should think about making a move soon. Always being the one reacting to everyone else isn't a good look. Look, I don't care about the optics. I care about what's effective. You know, is this a World War II type scenario where Blitzkrieg would be highly effective, or are we talking more about World War I, where we just went down in the trenches and machine gun some people, you know? Where are we story-wise? I guess the last major event that happened last stream is we killed Berserker, and now Ilya is living with us. So that's kind of the main points. Also, as I recall, I think last stream, Saber is acting weird around us now too, so hopefully that doesn't become an issue. Tasaka's right. There's nothing wrong with me physically, and Saber's completely healed. We should be done resting as of yesterday. You're right. You say we need to make a move, but it'll have to be at night. We're going to do the same things we've been doing during the day. Okay. Are you serious? Well, I guess it wouldn't do us any good if we just aimlessly wander around with no information at our opponents. So Saber's going to beat you up again today? I'm going to continue my sword training with Saber. That's what we've been doing every day, and a master should always be prepared for battle. I don't think you're wrong, but simultaneously, there comes a point where, you know, practice is over and it's time to actually prep for game day, you know? I doubt NFL teams are having like a major practice session, you know, like 30 minutes before kickoff, you know? Rin, what Shiro and I are doing is training, though you phrased it may cause misunderstanding. Well, actually, yeah, I'm gonna get beaten up by Saber in the morning, like usual. Yeah. Keep in mind, chatters, not everyone's played the game, including me, so, you know. Don't reference future events as best you can. Yeah. Sure, if you describe it that way as well, you put me in something of a difficult position. Yeah, oh, sorry, Saber, I wasn't listening. As I was saying, Rin's choice of words was too harsh. What's the matter with you, Shiro? You like vigor this morning. The breakfast you prepared was also bland. Were you in the shed until late again last night? No, Sasu's not dead, but we had a scuffle with him where we both got away. Saber may be questioning me, but there's no real bite to it. I can sense that she trusts me, which makes it even harder to meet her gaze now. As far as meet, I can't help thinking of that scene in the hill. Fine, I will put some life into you later on. So we're going to be training in the dojo again today, alright? Yeah, what about you, Ilya? Me? I'll do the same as yesterday. I don't like getting all wet in the rain, so I don't want to go outside. Got it, that's perfect. I'd rather you stay in the house since it's dangerous to go outside. Yeah, if you make bento again like yesterday, I wouldn't mind joining you. It seems like Ilya took a liking to the bento yesterday. I'm a little embarrassed that something so simple pleased her. But at the same time, I'm glad to know Ilya enjoyed the bento I made. Oh, so it'll be exactly the same as yesterday. I'm going to my room. I have some things to look up. But come by in the afternoon. There's something I want to talk to you about. Are you researching something? Yep, I think you might have noticed, but something's been going on at Ryodu Temple since yesterday. I have not noticed. I've been collecting magical energy really diligently this whole time, but that stopped. Something's definitely going on. That would be in the energy using phase now. And I think that of the remaining masters, our biggest threat is the one at Ryodu Temple. I'll send out a familiar and try to find out what's going on inside. Then should you not focus on your investigation? I don't see any need for you to take time off to teach Shiro. Well then, I'm sorry, but you're just going to have to bear with me on that. I'm still worried about Shiro, so I can't just leave him to his own devices. It might be one thing for him to die at the hands of an enemy, but since I'm his teacher, it'd bother me if he did something dumb and got himself killed because he messed up his MageCraft or something. Yes, you are absolutely correct. Something must have been wrong with me. I do not know why I would have believed your lessons to be unnecessary. Oh, the reasoning there is pretty simple, but best not to talk about it. Well, good luck with your morning training. Shiro's pretty. What the heck was that? Whatever. Well, good luck with your morning training. Shiro's pretty resilient, so it's probably best if you just beat him within an inch of his life. And with that, Tosaka leaves the room. Saber, take what Tosaka says with a grain of salt. She can say that because she's never been hit by you. I tell her just in case. For some reason, she seems pleased. Don't worry, I know. I understand your body better than she does. Okay. She responds calmly. What is the matter? Are you not going to eat, Irisvale? You have eaten less than a third of what you did yesterday. But I think you got auto-modded due to your language there. Just so you're aware. Well, hello. Brothers Gora? That's a fun username. Anyways. You have eaten less than a third of what you did yesterday, right? Yeah, I think it... One of your words in your message got auto-modded. I just can't eat this. I can't eat spicy food. I do not think it is particularly spicy. The spices used go well with the chicken. I said I don't like mustard. Just eat this for me, will you? In return, I'll eat your strawberry for you. Is that a good exchange? Strawberry for what? Like, I mean, honestly, I might take that deal. Strawberries are good, don't get me wrong, but you know, there's something primal about like some well-cooked, well-seasoned meat, you know? What are you doing, Irisvale? Hey, return that this instant. You may not have that. If you want something sweet, there's apple pie. Oh, we did make those apple pies, huh? Ilya and Saber sit next to each other, bickering like two close sisters. It's just past noon. The three of us sit and face each other, eating lunch together just like yesterday. Oh right, it's not just lunch that's the same as yesterday. Our training today was as well. Today, though, is even more awkward. I don't know how to explain it, but something in my chest stirs whenever I face Saber, and I find myself unable to rush at her with the same desperation I used to. It's not just me. Saber's been acting weird, too. It used to be that she never let an opening go by. The last couple days, she's just waited for me to make a move. Which has meant the two of us just kind of ended up staring at each other for a while. What's going on with you two? You're not very fun to watch now. Ilya's criticism helped us get back into the swing of things. I managed to go after Saber, but it ended pretty much the same. She batted aside my half-assed attack, but didn't bother countering. Since she didn't follow up, I whirled on Saber, lunged again, and was once more repelled, though she again didn't counterattack. Our lackluster session got ended about 10 minutes ago. Once again, it was at Saber's suggestion we began our lunch break. We're having the same thing we did yesterday. Sandwiches. I figured it wouldn't do to make them exactly the same as yesterday, so I used a few other ingredients. Everyone seems happy. Well, I mean everyone except Ilya. Ilya's excited over the colorful sandwiches, and Saber takes a deep breath, preparing for her meal. I think that's Saber's way of showing her enthusiasm. It's much rowdier than yesterday. It's raining, and the hardwood floor is cold, but this also feels like a picnic. Oh, that is enough, Elizabeth. If you eat like that, you will dirty your clothes. Honestly, this is what happens when you mimic Shiro and try to eat it in one bite. Your mouth is small, so you should eat more daintily. You're the one who doesn't understand, Saber. It's even less polite to worry about manners with a meal like this. And there's some truth to that, I guess, right? Alright, if you're the guy that's like, we grab like McDonald's, and then you're like, oh, by the way, elbows off the table while you're eating your Big Mac, like, you're not getting invited again. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. This is a picnic, so this is how you should be eating, right, Shiro? Ilya happily munches on a sandwich. And Saber reluctantly wipes his mouth with a napkin. Granted, I will say, addendum. If you come over and you are, in any way, ever being like, oh, elbows off the table, it's disrespectful, like... And granted, look, I'm sure there's some archaic reasoning behind that manners rule, but I don't get it. Like, it's just, like, it's a table. Like, what the heck? If that's the comfortable way to eat, like, why not? I guess, maybe it's like... I guess it could hail to a time period where, like, you were out in the fields doing, like, hard labor or something. And then you get inside and your clothes are all dirty, and we've got like a nice tablecloth on the table, and if you're putting your elbows all over the table, then that's probably where it comes from. Now you're getting the tablecloth dirty, which I'm gonna have to wash later. Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure it has some interesting origin, but I think it's archaic and unnecessary now. The tickle, Saber. Well, I didn't see this coming. Saber and Ilya seem to have warmed up to each other. This is a surprise. Are you not going to push me away, Elizabeth? Why would I? I love when people are nice to me. Yeah, if anyone else tried to touch me, I'd kill them. But Saber's pretty, so I'll allow it. And we're sharing a meal now. If Saber likes me, I like her too. It's so simple for Ilya. Saber, clearly taken aback, stares at Ilya, dumbfounded. Even I, just a spectator as this unfolds, am caught off guard by Ilya's smile. What, you don't think this is fun, Saber? Oh, no, I don't. I'm having tons of fun. It's raining outside. This place is so simple and bleak. Hey, there's nothing here that I've ever wanted. Did she make it in fun of my like Spartan lifestyle here? It's a dojo. It's not supposed to be like super well decorated. It's supposed to have like a lot of space for training. But just being here is fun. It's less nicer than being all alone. Are you not having fun, Saber? Yeah, I'm still kind of concerned that like someday we're gonna get like CPS or something showing up at our door and be like, oh, hey, by the way, we heard you kidnapped the child living in like the massive palace with like probably a bunch of staff. Could you hand her over, please? like she must have like a lot of staff and stuff that are probably looking for her. Something in Ilya's smile must have struck Saber. Saber sighs deeply and looks back at her. She only has 2? What? Nah, with that whole setup, with that whole like mansion palace deal, there's no way 2 people are holding down the whole ship there. You would need 2 people like at bare minimum just to clean all of the like bedrooms. That's before you're talking about like you gotta have a cooking staff, you gotta have a landscaping staff, you probably have a chauffeur, like. And again, I think you probably want more than 2 people to keep the whole thing, you know, to the level of cleanliness you would desire for such a fine place. And that's assuming she doesn't have any like guests or something that just kind of are chilling, or a retinue, perhaps. Anyways, I don't know. You're correct. I'm also enjoying being here. She sounds bright. And then Saber smiles in a way I've never seen from her. I don't know why, but I'm getting emotional. That smile was great. It was for herself, and herself alone. It's not the usual smile I see from her whenever she's protecting someone. It's a smile of sheer happiness for her, from her. Shiro, what does that look for? Did something good happen? No, nothing. Was I making a funny face? Well, okay, I get that it's like a temporary living situation, but you still need to staff it up properly, you know? I don't know. Yep, you were, and you made a face like a father. Like you're watching over us from afar. I don't like it. Huh? Why? I don't understand what she's talking about, but I guess I was just smiling? I see. Well, something good happened, so I guess I didn't realize I was smiling. Huh, something good, was it? Yep, I like the way you smiled just now, Saber. Seeing it made me happy. What an odd thing to say. What makes you happy, Shiro? Yep, I guess I like seeing you smile like that, Saber. Saber nods, though she doesn't seem convinced. And then, I don't know what came over her, but she smiles and lifts her head. I see. Then it must be the other way around, Shiro. Huh? What do you mean, the other way? I'm happier to see you smiling. If you keep smiling, that is good enough for me. Oh no, we've got like an infinite regress of smiling now. Where will that end? I can't meet Saber's gaze. That's why it would make anyone lightheaded. I managed to calm myself down and glance sidelong at Saber. She calmly resumes eating her picnic lunch. Nothing to worry about there. There should be nothing to worry about. Yet something is bothering me. I'm happy to see you smiling. Is that smile I saw for the first time or in that smile I saw for the first time, it seemed like she was contradicting herself. I listened to the rain in Tasaka's room. Today, under the pretense of a MageCraft lesson, she performed yet another physical examination like yesterday. She gave me more medicine, then checked all my magic circuits. It's not that I mind doing this, I just don't like doing this. I just don't like the feeling that I'm not doing anything productive. Okay. See, it's not that I dislike what we're doing, it's just the opportunity cost, Tasaka. The opportunity cost, think of it! She tells me not to move, so she can see what happens to me. But that doesn't mean I can't talk. And literally talking does require some degree of motion of the body, but hopefully it's not relevant to what is actually being observed. Tasaka, do you have a minute? I call out to her as I sit in my meditative pose. What is it? It's about Saber. I really don't know how to explain it, but I realize I haven't thought this through at all. Oh, come on. Sure, you gotta know. Whenever you talk to a girl, the first step is always you need to run through what you're about to say like 5 times in your own head to make sure it all makes sense, and then you say it. All right? You can't just be winging this. You gotta go in and attack with a plan, a strategy. It's not even a question of what can I do for Saber. I haven't even thought about what I want to do with her. Well, I was just wondering what she wants to do. She's never really told us anything she wants to do for herself, so... You don't know what Saber's thinking? And I'm glad that chatted. I don't even know what they're talking about anymore. Homunculi, futa... I would have fun with that. I don't know what you mean, though. No, it's not that. I just don't know why she's so selfless. Yeah, I just don't know what to do about that. How do I handle such, recklessly selfless people? They're so selfish being so selfless and making it hard to do stuff for them. I, being Shiro, would have I've got no idea what to do with that information. What a jerk, being so selfless like that. Well, you're right. The only thing she's done voluntarily is protect you. It may be a natural thing for a servant to do, but I can't blame you for thinking that since she's so dedicated to doing it. But that doesn't mean she's selfless. Saber's protecting you because protecting you helps fulfill her goal. Oh. You're saying it's all transactional, are you? I completely forgot a reason for even becoming a servant. You're right. Saber wants to get the Holy Grail, so it's not like she doesn't have any goals. And that Holy Grail will grant its possessor's wish. That means Saber at least has a wish she wants granted. I don't know what it is, but she wants it enough to even become a servant. So it must have some hope of saving her. Like, for example, if she's here in this time period, and the power of the Holy Grail can help her so she can stay here and live a second life, maybe? Shiro, I think you're just wish casting at this point. I mean, who knows? Maybe that is what she wants. I don't know. I'm not Saber, but also, like, very clearly that's what you want. This is like when you're complaining about, like, oh, why don't we have, a better, I don't know. Everyone knows the thing where it's like, I give you a gift, but it's really for myself, right? You give someone a gift, and it's like, oh, surprise, surprise, it's the board game I've always wanted, but it's a gift for you. Have fun with that. Oh, what? Man, who would have thought? I guess you're going to need someone to play that with at some point. Wow. Well, yeah, I guess that's just how it goes. That's what it's like, giving someone a board game as a gift. And she would have to wish for something that big just to make up for all the suffering and tragedy she endured. Oh, then it's actually pretty simple. Huh? You're energetic all of a sudden. It's creeping me out. Were you talking about something fun for you to get all excited like this? Yeah, I am getting excited. Yeah! You wouldn't be fighting so hard unless it was for something real big. After all, Saber needs to fight for her own wish. I nod to myself. Tasaka, on the other hand, seems utterly bewildered. Emiya, sorry to rain on your parade, but you're jumping to the wrong conclusion. Saber's not fighting for her own sake. What do you mean? You're saying even her wish for the Holy Grail is selfless? I wouldn't be shocked, honestly. You understand that, right? Saber isn't like that. She doesn't want the Holy Grail for herself. What's your reasoning? I can't even ask that. I know. She met her final moments alone because she didn't have any desire for herself. So Saber wouldn't seek for her own salvation now. But still, I hoped otherwise, even for a brief moment, so I pushed my distorted desire on her. Our conversation trails off, just as I think this awkward silence is going to continue forever. I told you a boring story, but Archer actually said something similar to what you said. Huh? Archer? You mean your Archer? Yep, I once asked him what his wish was. And you know what he said? I wouldn't have the slightest idea. I never knew a single thing about him. Archer once declared that we were bound to be enemies anyway, so he made no effort to communicate with Saber, or me. And yet, he may have been cynical, but he didn't seem the sort to have stupid objectives in mind. Get this, you're going to laugh. When I asked him what his wish was, he said, how about a world peace forever? It was so ridiculous, I couldn't help laughing. But then he got all weird and said, I knew you'd laugh. Well, you know, there's no meaning in gaining salvation from others. Fine, let's say this was a joke and leave it at that. It made me think that's probably why a guy like him became a heroic spirit, get ordered around by a girl like me. World peace. I guess my theory about maybe he was like Genghis Khan or something probably doesn't hold out then. I never had a strong theory about who he was, but I was thinking maybe Genghis Khan, yeah, maybe Robin Hood. I mean, obviously that's a prominent archer in history. You never know, though. I guess you could know. But you probably know if you read another out, honestly. I see. He didn't look it, but he was a great, proud knight in his own right. But don't get the wrong idea. If the Holy Grail really grants any wish, permanent world peace would be the worst one. Look, I know Genghis Khan was like a ridiculous thing. I was just kind of thinking like, okay, who's a prominent like archer that's really skilled and legendary? And we're like, okay, you got Robin Hood, you got Genghis Khan. I'm sure you got some others, or those were the two that came to mind immediately. It just means nothing happens. If there's no conflict in the world, that'd be as good as death. If nothing happens, the only thing is to rot away from stagnation. Huh. Did you tell Archer that too? I did, and he said, that's what the wise would think. I agree, but I'm still going to follow this dream, even if it's a fool's dream. Then I pressed him about whether he had any other wishes, and he said, I do, but it's not a wish that I should be granted by the Holy Grail, so I'll let you make your own wish in my place. Pretty pretentious, right? But he was quite the womanizer while he was alive. Huh. I really didn't get that impression from him. But what's your point here, Tasaka? Hey, point of evidence, Genghis Khan, notorious womanizer, in a certain sense. Nothing in particular. I'm just saying that there are different kinds of servants. Is that so? Well, I guess it was good for me to know. So it was at least kinda helpful. Then let's move on to the next topic. Well, actually, this is mostly at Saber anyway. Huh. I do remember you saying you wanted to talk to me about something this morning. Yes, it's nothing big, but I was curious. Might be a bit late in the game for this, but do you know the legend of King Arthur? I mean, I'm not, like, an expert, but yeah, everyone knows at least the general beats. The legend of King Arthur. I've been reminded of it more than enough in the past few days. I know as much as the next person, although I didn't know King Arthur was a girl. Right, her sex doesn't matter though. King Arthur being a girl wouldn't change the legend. As long as King Arthur managed to hide that fact from everyone, he would be treated as a man anyway. Fortunately, King Arthur had a mage called Merlin in his service. Merlin was truly devilish, half incubus actually, so it would have been easy for him to hide King Arthur's sex, or prepare a child who shouldn't have been born. Half incubus. Huh. Yeah, I bet. So my concern is the discrepancy between the legend and the saber we have in front of us. Emiya, do you know what exactly Excalibur was? Excalibur was what King Arthur's legendary blade, like given to him by the Lady of the Lake. It was, and I know it was. I guess it's probably particularly powerful. I don't know in what respect, according to legend. Why ask this now? Excalibur is a symbol of King Arthur. It's the sword fairies gave her, famed for being able to cut through anything without ever dulling. Yeah, that's what I figured you'd say. Tosaka looks oddly triumphant. Huh, was that a weird thing to say? Yes, you and King Arthur made the same mistake. If Merlin was around, he would probably mock you for being a fool. Why is that? The sword in the stone wasn't Excalibur. That sword broke. He later received another sword from a fairy in the lake, and that was Excalibur, right? Yep, when King Arthur received Excalibur, Merlin asked, "My king, which do you prefer? The sword or the sheath?" King Arthur answered the sword without a moment's hesitation, but Merlin scolded the king for that. Do not mistake their word. The sword may cut your enemies, but the sheath protects you. So long as you possess that sheath, you will spill not a single drop of blood, nor sustain any injury. The sheath rather than the blade is what you should value. Okay. You okay, Tosaka? Tosaka skillfully acts out the parts of King Arthur and Merlin. Look at you, Tosaka. You're getting into the parts. So, what's your point? Oh, come on. Do you still not get it? It means King Arthur is immortal. Excalibur is an invincible noble phantasm in both offense and defense. Okay, so yeah, we've gotten some, like, that's been stated before in the flashbacks in particular. I guess what I don't get, though, is, like, if King Arthur's immortal, how is King Arthur dead to become a servant? That doesn't quite add up. Perhaps the sheath was lost at one point, maybe? I guess if that was the source of the immortality? Which is why Saber should be able to heal immediately. Tosaka, Saber's wounds do heal. Yes, that's true, but Saber's self-healing abilities come from using a great amount of magical energy. And that sounds like it's separate from the sheath of the legendary Excalibur. Saying she's a fraud? I see. If you say so, it's probably true. Then here's my question. You say that King Arthur is immortal. So then why and how did King Arthur die? Legend ends with King Arthur's death, right? Huh? Tosaka's mouth drops open. After freezing up for a few seconds, she grinds her teeth and looks away. Oh, right. Excalibur's sheath was stolen. Ah, rookie mistake right there. I'd forgotten, but according to legend, King Arthur's fate was sealed the moment the king lost the all-important sheath. Yes, the sheath. So, are you convinced now, Tosaka? Yeah, go ahead and make fun of me if you want. She doesn't mean that. I can tell she's ready to kick me in the head the moment I left her. But I mean, still, it'd be kind of fun, though. It's all good, as long as you understand now. But why did that bother you so much? It shouldn't matter to you whether Saber gets hurt or not. Shut up! I might have just gotten a little arrogant, thinking she would be invincible if that were the case. I make mistakes sometimes too, you know. Huh. Alright, I'll note that admission down for use later. This is a tough one. Would there be any benefit in me pointing out that she makes mistakes a lot, not just sometimes? Alright, it looks like Shiro made the right choice there. By the time the sun sets, the rain stopped completely. Based on our conversation during breakfast, we're heading to town to look for the other master. But I should check something beforehand. I should check Saber's intentions. What is her purpose in fighting? I shouldn't just ask her straight out. I'll need to be casual about it. Casual, super casual Saber. I hype myself up a bit, then push to my feet. The living room seems like a good starting place. Oh, interesting point there, Adam. Guess that makes sense that you'd summon them kind of during their prime. Anyways, I'm going to leverage the peaceful pre-dinner mood to try to get through Saber's stubborn nature. What if, hypothetically, what would we do if we won the Holy Grail War? So much for casual. Well, I mean, when you start with what if hypothetically, I mean, that's code word for this is a Actually, that's code word for this is definitely not a hypothetical casual conversation. Especially in fiction. I thought about it a lot and couldn't come up with anything smooth. So, blunt it is. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank too, Shiro. Huh? I'm not even asking the right person! What the heck? Shiro, you fool! Oh, okay. She's here. Huh? Hmm? All three of them offer more or less the same response, though with slightly different expressions. Like I said, after we win, I want to talk about what to do once we obtain the Holy Grail. Yeah, we got that, thanks. Where did this come from? Saber and Ilia don't nod, but they do seem to share an opinion on the subject. I guess this was kind of weird to bring up out of nowhere. But I have to play dumb for now. Yeah, well, I'm just asking. There are only 3 servants left, so it's not such an unrealistic thought. So, you know, that is kind of insight. Well, you might be right. I guess even Shiro could be thinking about that by now. He did join the war, so I guess it's no surprise you've got your mind on the reward now that you've been risking your life on this. Yeah, I would think that. I'm glad Tosaka likes to focus on the reason for things. Tosaka will allow for the possibility of anything that seems logical, which is really one of her better qualities. This is just something I brought up to discuss, though. So, what about you, Tosaka? What would you do if you got the Holy Grail? I try to be as natural as possible with this. Let's see, I really only ever thought about winning. Something I want to wish for from the Holy Grail. What? So then we get this straight. You're in this for bragging rights? You're in the Grail War for bragging rights, Tosaka. What the? Okay. I mean, to each their own? I'd take the Holy Grail, but I've never thought about what I'd do with it. So she's fighting because she doesn't want to lose. I figured that was the case, but didn't know for sure until she said it herself. I don't believe this. You seem like the one person who would have had it all worked out, but you actually thought about it the least. Say what you want. What about you then, Elizabeth? I don't know. I was just told not to give up the Holy Grail to anyone because it's mine. Okay, so Tosaka wants it to win. Elizabeth just wants it to have the Grail. Great, so okay. It's mine to begin with, so I obviously don't care. Is she asserting that her family has like a historic claim on the Grail? Is that so? So you're saying you enjoy the Grail, the Holy Grail more than the Holy Grail? I guess if you're one to talk. Of course, I only came here to win. I don't care what it gets used for. They're two peas in a pod. The two stare at each other in silence. They seem to be coming to some sort of understanding. Okay, well. Saber. Surely we have at least one sensible person here who's actually in this war for like a, reason that has like practical effects and benefits. Saber doesn't say anything. She probably doesn't intend to join the conversation. No matter how much she resists, I still have to ask. I have a good idea of your goals. I tried to turn as naturally as possible. So, what about you, Saber? She's been quiet this whole time. Saber doesn't reply, sensing that something's amiss. For a second, that sounded to me like the skeleton sound effect from Minecraft, and I was really confused for a moment. But it's just the ticking clock. Anyways, sensing that something's amiss, Tosaka and Delia stop and turn towards Saber. Like, I was ready to get just, like, skewered in the back with an arrow or something. The silence stretches out for maybe a minute. I need not remind any of you this, but it is my duty to obtain the Holy Grail. I knew little of the Holy Grail's potential. As long as it is the Holy Grail, I must— Oh no! Right, she is King Arthur. That obtaining girl is just like her thing. She just wants it too. Ah! And if it is possible, I will have my wish granted. How did I not see that one coming? There it is. Saber just said she has a wish of her own. Haha! I see, so what is your wish? I tried to calm my racing heart and keep composed as I ask. Saber doesn't answer. Fine, that's fine. If she can't answer, chances are it's because her wish is a selfish one. Knowing Saber, she may hesitate to reveal her wish to anyone if she's wishing for something selfish. And I think I'd rather she keep quiet than make something up. I can feel myself trying to back away from the question I raised. Is it really that complicated? Grandfather said the servants want to come back to life in this world. They want the Holy Grail for a second chance at life. Isn't that the case with you, Saber? Elizabeth coming in clutch. Thank you, thank you. Saber jerks her head up. If that's what she wanted, there would be no problem. Which means... No, I have no interest in a second life. That's funny, yeah. My only goal is to obtain the Holy Grail. The price I paid to have a chance at obtaining the Holy Grail was becoming a servant. Wait a minute. Hold on, I'm probably reading too much into this, but... Did you lose the sheath? Because, you know, obviously Arthurian legend, one of, like, the big arcs of that is, like, trying to obtain the Holy Grail. Did you find out that the only way to obtain the Grail was to become a servant, so you lost the sheath so you could die and have the chance to become a servant in just in order to obtain the Grail? Is that what's going on here? That is so tragic, if so. I figured that much. No, you did not, Shiro. No one saw this one coming. Come on. Someone who took an oath and drew the sacred sword wouldn't seek a second life. Hold on, you became a servant just to obtain the Holy Grail? You formed a contract when you became a heroic spirit? Yes, I asked to seek the Holy Grail in exchange for becoming a servant. What? Are you saying you weren't summoned as a servant to help a master get the Holy Grail, but you chose to become a servant so you can get the Grail yourself? Tosaka stares at Saber. She tilts her head, confused. So Saber wasn't summoned because she's a heroic spirit, but because she just volunteered to join the war. Oh, that explains too why she's been in like 2 consecutive ones, right? If she just... You're right, if she's like... I guess by implication the other servants like don't necessarily like want to be here, they kind of hear... I forget how exactly that works, but if she's like the most driven of like, I want the Grail specifically, then it would make sense she keeps coming back in different wars. But as long as she's a servant, she's supposed to be a reputable heroic spirit. That means she can't affect the world herself, so Saber must have gone around the rules for servants, which she obviously hasn't. Hold on a minute. I need to organize my thoughts. No, you need do nothing of the sort. You are correct, Rin. I am different than the other servants. I have yet to become a complete servant. Not a complete servant? What does that mean? Or what does that mean? Well, first of all, what does it mean to become a servant? Saber just said she agreed to become a servant as the price she had to pay to obtain the Holy Grail. Which means... Oh, hold on a minute. Are servants forced to fight as the price to get what they want? No, that is incorrect. Servants are special familiars that exist only for the Holy Grail War. Servant is created through special summoning MageCraft, which employs the characteristics of the heroic spirits. They are already heroic spirits, so there are no rules which say that servants must work because they are given something. Right, the servant system uses heroic spirits, which are guardian incarnations. It's working with something that already exists, so neither servants nor masters have to pay a price to use the system. But I have heard that before becoming a servant, they have to pay a price to become a heroic spirit in the first place. Heroic spirits are guardians for humans. Even after their deaths, they work to protect humanity and prevent the destruction of the human world. In order to become a guardian, the person must, while they are still active as a hero in their lifetime, make a deal of some kind. That's the contract to become a heroic spirit, a ritual to give themselves to the world after they die. Yeah, I was assumed it was something just kind of automatically happened if you met certain criteria. Huh, interesting. The beneficiaries of this exchange become heroes, and after they've done what they wanted to do as a hero and eventually die, they repay that debt by becoming heroic spirits. Okay, I think I get it. Basically, in order to become a hero in life, they go into a sort of debt, which they then repay as a heroic spirit after death. Masters like us use servants because we swoop in and make use of that debt heroic spirits are trying to repay. Huh. So you're saying humans become heroes by making some sort of trade, and in return they get used and summoned as heroic spirit familiars after their death. Which means the saber... which means the deal Saber made to become a heroic spirit was for the Holy Grail. Since Saber obtained the Holy Grail in her lifetime, the price she has to pay is serving as a heroic spirit, a sort of guardian even after death? That doesn't sound right. Saber said that her goal was the Holy Grail, but she already obtained it. Since she became a hero in exchange for the Holy Grail. That is not correct, Shiro. I have not obtained the Holy Grail. Altria, King Arthur's wish, was to obtain the Holy Grail during their lifetime. I had to obtain the Holy Grail before I died. So, is she not a heroic spirit then? That's why I agreed to become a guardian after I died. If I could first obtain the Holy Grail. As been explained, humans form contracts with the world to become heroes. In exchange, they receive powers beyond human ability, which they pay for by serving after death. But I did not require the world's help to become a hero. Fortunately, King Arthur required no such aid. She didn't need any help to become a hero. So Saber became a hero on her own? Yet you are here as a heroic spirit. Does that mean you asked for something else from the world after King Arthur became a hero? Yes, I required the Holy Grail in my final moments. A wish that must be granted presented itself, so I needed the Holy Grail. That is why I formed a heroic spirit contract. I have to wield my sword as a heroic spirit after my death, so long as I could lay hands upon the Holy Grail. I see. In her last moments, she wished for the Holy Grail's miracle. Now I understand her feelings. The blood-soaked hill. Swords standing as gravestones, the bodies of so many knights. A lone king whose reign ended in betrayal. She didn't deserve the end she met. Even if she hadn't had a wish of her own before, she must have thought, I can't die here. This isn't the end I want. And that's why there's no shame in using the power of the Holy Grail to prolong her life. I see, so you seized the means of obtaining the Holy Grail by selling yourself after death. But Saber, your condition was obtaining the Holy Grail while you were still alive, right? Then... Yes, I could not complete my search for the Holy Grail while I was alive. I, King Arthur, could not obtain the Holy Grail even at the very end. But that would nullify my contract. For the world to make a servant of me, it must provide a Holy Grail while King Arthur yet lives. And that is why King Arthur will not die until she obtains the Holy Grail. That is to say, she can't die. That means you're... Yes, time for King Arthur, me, stops at the moment of my death. I should have died a long time ago, but that does not fulfill the contract. King Arthur was summoned as a servant, right, at the moment of death, and she will die the moment she obtains the Holy Grail. Wait. No. So it's not that time stopped, you're just stuck in time? Doesn't matter how many times you repeat your fight as a servant, because you obtained the Holy Grail and fulfilling your contract is predetermined. That is correct. I will one day obtain the Holy Grail, and my contract will be fulfilled. That is why I can be summoned as a heroic spirit in another age. The outcome of my arrangement has already been determined. This does not apply only to the Holy Grail in this town. Should there be a chance of obtaining the Holy Grail, I could be summoned to any battlefield. One day I will obtain the Holy Grail, and once my wish has been granted, time, stopped for me at the moment of death, will resume its flow. King Arthur will meet her end. In exchange for obtaining the Holy Grail, she will become a heroic spirit. It's not much practical change. So for you, it's like a dream just before dying, one you can't wake from. This Holy Grail War is just part of that dream. And the only way for you to wake is to get a Holy Grail? You believe that I could not enter spirit form because Shiro is inexperienced, but that is incorrect. I cannot enter spirit form because I am still alive. It may only be a technicality, but I am considered a living person. Just like during the last Holy Grail War. Saber's tone is apologetic. She probably feels bad for laying the blame for her not being able to enter spirit form on my ineptitude. I don't care about that. But there's something I need to ask. Saber, what do you mean you're not dead? I got that you won't die until you obtain the Holy Grail. And based on how you described it, you haven't been alive since the time of King Arthur. But then, who are you right now? You're not a clone of the real person or anything, right? That is correct. Heroic spirits when summoned are like copies of a person's original body, but I have yet to reach that state. Until I obtain the Holy Grail, I appear as I am at the moment of my death. As Rin mentioned, King Arthur is now stopped in the great river of time. From where I am stranded, I jump both forward and back along the river's flow, and after I attempt to obtain the Holy Grail, I return to where time stopped for me. I tried to diagram it all in my head. Okay, so we got the battle. Here, do we have the? Okay. Okay, so we got the battle. We got the past, present, the future. Good, good. So we got the battle of Calman, or Calmlin. Sorry. We got Arthur there, who exists. Then Arthur dies, but Arthur doesn't actually die yet. Arthur actually goes and gets summoned, like several times. Okay, got you. Okay. I guess, based on how this drone has been described, it almost sounds like, too, she doesn't necessarily experience these linearly, like, well, I don't know, maybe she does. It's confusing. Like, I'm not sure if she necessarily experiences the Holy Grail Wars in the order they actually occur, or if she's, like, so detached from time that she's, like, popping in and she's like, oh, I'm in the 2030 Grail War now. Oh, see ya, now I'm in the 1475 Grail War. Oh, now I'm in the 2004 Grail War. Though she does definitely have distinct memories of the previous Grail War, which would kind of imply that it's experienced sequentially, I suppose. That could just be a coincidence, though. Who can say? Anyways, it's pretty simple once I visualize it. King Arthur is stopped in time at the moment before she dies. But that doesn't matter to the wider flow of time. It continues on all the way to the present. Okay, yeah. She jumps to whatever time she's needed, then returns to her own frozen moment in time after she completes her duty. If she manages to obtain the Grail in one of the times she visits, she will swept back into the proper flow of time and die, just as she does in the history we know. Okay, good to know, better. Good to know. Maybe that's how heroic spirits work? I guess technically she's already won then, in a certain sense, right? Because maybe, oh. Like, because she's died in our timeline. Which means at some point in the future, she has gotten the Grail and traveled back. Time travel makes things so much more confusing. Okay, maybe that's how heroic spirits work. When they die, they're transferred back to a sort of nexus where the flow of time stops. And then when they're summoned, they're taken to that point in time, then disappear without ever returning. Okay. That's probably what is meant by heroic spirits being doubles. Kind of like a clone made from the original cells. The heroic spirit, which completely retains the abilities and memories they had while alive, appears in this world and gains more knowledge, but it's all useless. They have no means to return to their original body and instead just disappear. Wait, does that mean that the normal heroic spirits don't have memory of the previous Grail Wars they participated in, if they're all just copies of the original, right, and not copies of the copies, necessarily? Huh. Maybe? I don't know. And so no matter how many times or in how many different eras they're summoned, there will never be any inconsistencies in the heroic spirit's memories. From the moment the person becomes a heroic spirit, they will never change. Even if they obtain new knowledge, they will just disappear once their role is over. So in that sense, Saber is not a complete servant. After each time she's summoned, she eventually returns to her own time. Which actually kind of seems like it might be a bit of an advantage. Right, if the other servants don't retain memories from previous Grail Wars, but Saber gets to continually like build upon her previous experiences, like, okay, so the strategy we did last time didn't really work. Maybe we'll go for something else this time. It actually kind of, like, there was a thought experiment I saw posted online the other day of, like, if you were in a time loop, like, say it's a 24-hour time loop, and the only way to escape the time loop, and in this time loop, say you're playing, like, a chess grandmaster, I don't know, Magnus Carlsen, Garry Kasparov, something like that, and the only way to escape the time loop is to win the game of chess against the chess grandmaster, how many loops do you think you'd need? And, like, it would be a lot. That's for certain. It would be a lot. Yeah. Like, I think eventually I'd get it. Not because I'm necessarily good at chess, but you might be able to, like, brute force remember, like, okay, if I do pawn to this move, he responds to this move, and then I can, like, work backwards from there. I think eventually I'd get it, but it would probably take, like, maybe, like, decades of time. Of looped time. I see. Okay. Anyway, she goes back to that moment where she's about to die on that blood-soaked hill. Hold it. So then what? If you manage to get the Holy Grail this time, you'll return to your own time and use the Holy Grail there? But does that mean whatever she wishes for already happened, technically? Because, right, if we live in the timeline, because obviously we do not currently live in a timeline where there's just like some girl on a hill somewhere, frozen in non-death, right? King Arthur has died in our timeline, which means the events, which means the King Arthur that exists in the Middle Ages in our timeline already got the Grail at some point in the future, and therefore must have wished upon the Grail earlier in the timeline, because the stipulation is that she would get it before her death, which means it has to be used back in the time. And if that's the case, and we live in a time where King Arthur is not immortal, that means that the wish already happened? Right? That's altering the past. Time travel or intervening in a parallel world is magic. You can't do something like that. Says you. Before her death, does that even past? But the Holy Grail makes that possible. My contract dictates that I will become a servant if I can use the Holy Grail. I see. Even if using the Holy Grail causes the person, Altria, to disappear, that is simply the cost of me becoming a heroic spirit. Saber is so matter-of-fact about it. Doesn't sound right, though. Using the Holy Grail to grant a wish is fine. But why would that mean Altria has to disappear? Well, because she dies once she gets the Grail. But, yeah, so. What the hell? Altria's going to disappear by using the Holy Grail? That's messed up. Saber, you're not going to... I see the image of the girl dying on that hill, all alone. You're not going to use the Holy Grail to save yourself? Huh? What are you asking, Shiro? One desires to save my nation from ruin. I mean, I kind of feel like that may have already happened. I mean, there's this whole chapter of history called, like, the British Empire. Like, Britain did pretty well, with or without a Grail wish. Or maybe that is the Grail wish. Now, granted, I will say, go back in time, I do know that technically speaking, the King Arthur mythos is set in the pre-Anglo-Saxon British period, which would imply actually that for her nation to not fall to ruin, that actually kind of implies the repelling of the the Angles and Saxons in favor of the native Britons retaining the land, which actually that would be a massive butterfly effect, come to think of it. Yeah. Because, like, that's why English is a Germanic language, like Saxon, as in, like from Saxony, right? It was a migration of Germanic peoples to the island. Oh my goodness, if she actually gets that wish. I mean, that's like all of, like, modern history. Just, like, completely changed. That, I'm not sure we want to win now. I can feel my expression tensing up. I thought I knew Saber's wish. But now my head is spinning and I feel like throwing up. Why? And yet, I try to push air from my lungs and get that one word out. There's no reason I should not. Well, I'm assuming here that, like, if she's using, like, Grail to wish for, like, the survival for her nation, to save her nation from falling to ruin, I assume it's probably gonna be a little more long-lasting of an effect than, like, oh, you get an extra, like, decade of, like, good times. It's, like, I don't know. I feel like if I, like, obtained the Holy Grail and was like, I wish for the prosperity of the United States of America, and for it to not fall into ruin, like, I would assume in that wish, like, I'd be pretty miffed if then we got, like, one, like, super amazing president and then just the United States gets completely conquered by, like, Canada or something. I'd be pretty miffed if that was what happened. So I'm assuming the effects would be a little more long-lasting than that. Though maybe I'm assuming wrong. Maybe it's one of those sort of, like, monkey's paw sort of thing where you gotta word it exactly right. It's like, oh, you don't want your nation to fall to ruin? Alright, fair enough. Nuclear apocalypse. There ain't gonna be no ruins left after that. It's all gonna be just completely destroyed and decimated. Not a single ruin standing. I could not protect my nation because I became a king to protect the nation, but I failed to fulfill that duty. And that is when I thought, perhaps the sword and the stone was wrong to have chosen me. That's ridiculous. Why did you think that? No, that is a doubt I always carried with me. Perhaps I was never fit to be a king. Perhaps there was another hero who would have been better choice. Even the moment I pulled the sword, there must have been a better king out there, one able to save the nation while I could not. And so, if I could use the power of the Holy Grail to redo the selection of the king, then perhaps we could... Is she saying that her nation wouldn't be destroyed if she was able to go back to that moment? I feel faint. I'm really angry at Saber for wishing for such a ridiculous thing. The feeling passes in an instant, though. I probably look like a deer in headlights. Isn't it obvious? Saber's wish is not for herself, and on top of that, she wishes for her own elimination. She exists because she became king by drawing the sacred sword. To pretend that never happened means she simply wouldn't exist. Let's say we use the Holy Grail to grant her wish. Oh yeah, she wouldn't... How would that shake out? Right, because if she gets the wish... Right, she doesn't draw the sword or anything. There goes, like, all her, like, life of heroic deeds and whatnot. That surely means she doesn't qualify as a heroic spirit anymore, but she needs to be a heroic spirit to pay the debt on the wish. Why are there so many paradoxes? Okay, let's say we use the Holy Grail to grant her wish. Ultra would never become king, she would just live in a timeline where she is an ordinary knight. But then, what would happen to the Saber I know? Even if it's only temporary, she already exists as a heroic spirit, and if her wish is granted, she will continue on, but as a being meant only for fighting. She's already paid the price for obtaining the Holy Grail, so the Saber I know will continue existing, even if Ultra never becomes king. She'll be cut off from the past and future. She'll always and only ever be the lonely knight dying on that blood-soaked hill. Changes the time don't affect heroic spirits? What? That's idiotic. I won't allow it. There's no hope of salvation there. Even if she was able to do it all over, and there really was a better king, and her nation did manage to last long, and if she herself was saved. It'd all be lies. Even if it made everyone around her happy, I can't just let her, the past 10 years she fought through, be a lie. No, you can't do that. You can't redo things. It wouldn't mean anything if you did, Saber. Don't use the Holy Grail for something like that. You don't in the Holy Grail because you fight for it. You should use that miracle for yourself. But I have said, I'll be using it for myself. I, Ultra, must fulfill her duty as king. How does she not understand? You've already done more than your duty. You've done so much already. You didn't give up even when you were feared or even when you were betrayed. You held on to your sword until the end on that hill. So why? Why do you have to keep such promises even after you die? Saber looks bewildered. Too late to regret what I said. I shouldn't have just blurted out that I've been dreaming of Saber's past. A heavy silence hangs between us. See, no, Saber, it's not that I've been, reading your memory, dream, mind things. It's that I'm just like a super nerd as it pertains to Arthurian legend. Yeah. It's public domain. I can learn it. I can't think what to say. Even I can tell speaking up will just make things worse right now. But I just can't keep quiet. Saber, I don't like it when people aren't rewarded for their hard work. It's wrong. It's not fair. I get that it's childish, but I want to believe that humans can find happiness if they really work for it. I'm going to lose to the other master. Or I'm not going to lose to the other masters. I'm claiming the Holy Grail, no question. That's why I want you to make your own wish. That way I'll actually find the meaning in this stupid war. That's the conclusion I reached. I don't know what the Holy Grail is, nor do I know if it's even something you should try to obtain. But if it could save Saber, even a little, then I'll go all out for her. Well, that sounded bad. The sound of heavy bells rings out, and the house suddenly goes dark. The air changes immediately. The lights go out, but Saber, Tosaka, and I don't say a word. We try to gauge our surroundings with our other senses. The loud ringing stops, and the living room goes silent. And yet, a soft rustling ripples through the house. Is that alarm this house's bounded field? I nod in silence. It's the same sound as when Lancer broke in. Then that can only mean... The sounds are getting closer. Louder. Something is sliding against or across something else. It sounds like a swarm of bugs rushing toward the lights. The only place that sound doesn't seem to be coming from is the living room. It's not even been a minute since the lights went out, and we're surrounded on all sides by that sound. An enemy, but doesn't seem like a servant. There's just too many of them. Whatever people might say, I do have some knowledge of mages and MeeCraft. Even I can sense that there's a lot of magical energy coming from a ton of people or things surrounding the house. 20 at least. But they also seem weirdly light. I don't sense any human will or intellect. The flapping sounds seem to be coming from enemy puppets. Oh, so they did come. Ilya? You didn't betray us, did you? You've been running away from me for this entire time, but now that Berserker's gone, here they are again. What a shrewd servant. Ilya speaks up amid the flapping sounds. She, unlike the three of us, is strangely calm. Do you know who that is, Ilya? Of course I do. I know all the servants. Master's out there, and she's brought quite an entourage with her. They look like cheap golems made with dragon teeth. Dragon teeth does not sound like a cheap material to make a golem out of. Ilya is so casual about this. And just then the sound stops. I grab the wooden sword in the living room. Saber and Tosaka seem to be waiting for me to make a move. Okay, I leave Caster to Saber and protect the two here, or Saber and I both head out. Why would that be automated? Is that just the word? Anyways. Yeah, all out. Sure, why not? There you go. Okay, let's see. Say leave Caster to Saber and protect the two here, or Saber and I will both head out. This is tough. It's just a tactical decision. I'm assuming one probably leads to my death. The other probably not. Well, what have we done previously? Alright, boldness in general has been the winning strategy for a lot of these fights. I know we did get sort of grilled by Tasaka after the last fight, like, hey, don't be doing, like, stupid things of, doing magic that's, like, summoning and whatnot. That's too dangerous. But I think 2 and 2 probably makes the most sense. Like, strategically, right? Because it's not like Tasaka and Ilya are like super weak that we need to be there to protect them, right? If I'm not copying legendary swords, I'm not stronger than Tasaka or probably Ilya in any case either. So I don't think they need my protection. But Saber and I have good chemistry when we're fighting, so I think this makes the most sense to head out with Saber. Plus, it could be a trap. I'm not sure I trust Saber to not do something recklessly selfish, selfless if it's recklessly selfless if it's a trap. So, yeah, we're gonna be with Saber. It's clear who the enemy is. If Caster's attacking with an entire army, there's only one thing for us to do. Us staying here won't do anything. Saber, come with me. Tasaka, you take Ilya. Why? I don't want to babysit Rin. That's my line. And I thought you said you were going to listen to Shiro. He's telling you to stay back, so no arguing. I don't care. I'm more useful than Saber. Tasaka grabs Ilya from behind in a full Nelson and covers her mouth. Ilya, her voice muffled, continues shouting insults and expletives. Got it, I'll protect Ilya. I'm counting on you to defeat Caster. Thanks, but try not to overdo it. You're better off running than fighting if it comes to it. Tasaka nods as if to say she doesn't have to be reminded. I turn my back to Tasaka and head toward the veranda. Saber? Yes, I know. I will take care of Shiro. Saber follows me after nodding to Tasaka. Huh. Well, that's moderately disturbing. In that instance, I doubt my own eyes. A sword swings down at me. I stand stunned as the blade descends toward my head. Ugh. I twist away and parry with my wooden sword. Did I? Oh, I already got hit. Wow. Even I don't believe it. My body just reacted the instant I knew I was in mortal peril. The enemy attacks again without missing a beat. A smooth mechanical movement. A fluid, accurate attack. But that's it. It's accurate, but it's not sophisticated and lacks the brutality of a killing strike. It seems pathetic next to the strength of Saber's strikes, like it's barely moving in comparison to Berserker's incredible speed. Back against the wall, I parry again. As I step back against the wall, Saber strikes like lightning. Shiro, are you alright? See for yourself. I got a little spooked, but I managed. I do not do. At times like this, you must stand behind me. Please be more careful. Saber scolds me for my carelessness. She's right, but I didn't want to just stay behind her. I think I'm using a wooden sword to fight. Shiro, are you listening? I am. So, Saber, what was that thing? The hallway is empty. Whatever hideous thing Saber saved me from was completely annihilated by her attack. It was exactly as Elizabeth said. It was a sword you made by using a monster's body as a catalyst. It seems more like a golem than an automaton, but seemed to be of low quality. I have no trouble defeating them, even if we are surrounded. Well, speak of the devil. Yeah. I don't know where they were hiding. How many did they manage to sneak in? These crudely assembled things scuttle all around us, closing in like spiders. But they're not the only presence I sense. Countless others surround the house, many times more than I see here. Shadow next to you. Huh. I leap away from the wall. Yeah. Why, you? I strike at the bones with my wooden sword. Saber sweeps away the bones, crawling toward my exposed back. The bones move jerkily toward us, attacking with the same unnatural movements. It's not hard to fight them off, but we're destroying more of the house with every strike. I only have a wooden sword. Even if I use strengthening on it, it won't last. As much as I hope I'm wrong, it seems like the bones heading for us are endless. I really hope this isn't going on to go on until we both collapse from exhaustion. Damn, where are these things coming from? I can't help but complain as I fight back to back with Saber. There aren't that many bones coming at me. Some seem to be coming from inside the house, and most seem to be coming from the yard. Saber slashing away at the bones coming from the yard. It looks like they're heading towards the living room. Tosaka and Ilya are in there, and Saber has her hands full dealing with the bones heading that way. Saber readies her sword. There may be no need to hide it now. Her golden sword is ready to demonstrate its true power. Wait, Saber, don't use Excalibur right now! I don't care if you destroy the house, okay? I might care a little, but we're in a residential area. You know what'll happen if you use it here. I shout to Saber as I bat away the bones, striking at me. I obey your order, but dealing with so many enemies at once is not ideal. We could find ourselves in trouble if we do not sweep them all aside in a single blow. Oh no, is it gonna be like the old trope where it's like you're fighting the skeletons and like you knock one down, and while you're fighting the other ones, if you don't defeat them all at once, they start like rebuilding themselves? Is that what's going on? That'd be terrifying. I know, these things are like familiars, right? And if we defeat the one who's controlling them, that should wipe out the whole army. Saber, can you find Castor? There's no need, Castor's in the yard. She's not concealing herself, which tells me she hopes to lure us to her. Fine, let's give her what she wants. We're not going to last like this. In general, it's not the most advisable to walk directly into an enemy trap. I do not mind, but are you saying you are going to attack Castor there? The yard is just ahead. If Castor's just out there, she shouldn't be too difficult to reach. But if we do that, we won't be defending the house. Saber's fighting the bones off now, but as soon as she's outside, the walls holding them all back will be gone. I should believe in Tosaka or leave Castor to Saber. Okay, so this is basically, am I accompanying Saber with her to go fight Castor? I guess. Alright, believe in Tosaka is like, hey, Tosaka can handle these bones. They seem pretty easy to deal with, honestly. And, I mean, if Ilya and Tosaka aren't the main target, they could always fleet too. So, I'll believe in Tosaka, I think. Again, I think 2 and 2 is going to be better here than 3 and 1. Even if the 1 is Saber. Right, Saber's very strong, but I do think sometimes she strategically could use our guy. Ah. I hear glass shattering. I hear the sound of intense fighting coming from the living room. Share your orders, please. There's no time to be indecisive. I know. My delaying is making the situation worse. We're going after Castor. I already said Tosaka should take care of Ilya. Then let us go, Master. I'll entrust my back to you. Sheesh. She hurries down the hall, mowing down bones as she goes. The bone soldiers disappear before getting anywhere near Saber. They're like vanishing snowflakes. Saber scatters so many in her path it looks like a snowstorm. She said she'd trust her back to me, but she pretty clearly doesn't need me to protect her. And once again reminded how skilled a swordsman Saber is. Saber charges through them, unwavering. She cuts her way straight to the source of these bones. Her only goal now is to defeat the yet unseen 6th servant that has invaded the house. Saber stops. The soldiers, which had been coming at us in droves, are suddenly gone. This must be our destination. Our distorted human a distorted human figure looms ahead of us. It wears a robe of some kind, but the robe itself is so dark that it looks more like a hole in the night. A dark shadow. As soon as I lay eyes on the figure, I'm struck by an incredible sense of anxiety. Are you, Saber? Ah, yes, you certainly would be capable of defeating Berserker. My soldiers, then, would be no deterrent to you. The figure chuckles. It seems the dark figure is the master of those bone creatures. Caster. But there's no master. There's no sign of a master nearby. Maybe she's the same as Lancer, able to move even far from her master. Ew. Has your contract been terminated? Saber challenges her directly with the question. Yes, that man was unfit to be my master, so I rid myself of him. He is no more. That's an option? You can do that? What? Yeesh, I guess he should. I guess he could have maybe used the commands of like, oh, by the way, don't kill me, but like, you know, probably shouldn't be having to waste your command spells on things like that. Not a great working relationship, at least. I can't see the expression on the robed servant's face, but I can hear the terrible coldness in Caster's voice. Master killer. So your master. He's long dead. But that is not a problem for me, Saber. I'm also realizing we do have maybe a slight problem here in the fact that we've got a masterless servant who just walked up on a house filled with 2 servantless masters. Now, who knows, maybe Caster is not the type to form a new contract, but I think she has to if she wants the Grail, right? She's got to have a master at some point. So could she angle to try to get Ilya or Tasaka as her new master? That could be bad. Especially if it's Ilya. We are soul leaders. We are surrounded on all sides by sources of magical energy. All that remains is why simply obtaining the Holy Grail. Then there's nothing else to worry about. So you wish to live in this world too? I don't know what heroic spirit you are, but you have abandoned what pride you had for this? Goodness, and would you not say letting yourself be used as a tool for humans is casting your pride aside? I could never endure that, but then and now I grew tired of working for another's benefit. I prefer to be the one pulling the strings. You have no right to criticize. I figured as much, but your misdeeds do not concern me. Saber tilts her body just slightly. She's only about 10 meters from Caster. Saber should be able to close that distance and bring Caster down in a heartbeat. How nasty of you. I came here simply to talk, but you will not hear me. I will have you know I've been gentle here. There's nothing for us to discuss. You will die here. Saber's intent only on killing. I'm not about to oppose her in this case. All I smell from Caster is blood. She must be telling the truth about murdering her master. Her raid tonight was clearly intended to kill everyone in the house. So there's no reason for me to stop Saber. Besides, Caster isn't even a threat to Saber. Even I can see Caster's abilities. She's the weakest when it comes to one-on-one combat. If Saber engages her, she can only lose. Sun Tzu's Art of War, rule number whatever. If you are strong, appear weak. If you are weak, appear strong. There's something else going on here. There must be. Don't do it, Saber. Even with all that in mind, I can't shake off the sense of anxiety. It's not the same feeling of hopelessness, inevitable death I got when we were in Berserker's presence. Do I just have some sort of aversion to her? Or is it a warning shot of something dangerous? Forget out me. Somehow my left hand is aching to warn me that Saber should stay away from that thing. I hesitated too long. Saber launches herself at the dark shadow. Caster smiles. She doesn't look at all disturbed as Saber rushes toward her. Huh. She mutters, Atlas. Oh, okay. I can't understand what she says, but it sends something beyond words straight into our minds. Probably like a map of the world or something. The world lurches and distorts. The air grows denser around Saber. What? I hear, even feel a tremendous impact. The ground flexes like something massive slammed into Saber from above. No way. She activated some kind of magecraft without moving a muscle. Actually, I think she murmured something like an incantation. Incantations can be shortened. The simpler the magecraft, the shorter the spell can be made. But this isn't by any means simple magecraft. Not many mages could visualize such a thing in a single breath. Even if it were possible, they'd need to prepare a catalyst ahead of time like Tosaka does. But Caster's triggered the magecraft with a murmured word. I've never even heard of anything like this. If that is Caster's magecraft, she is no mere mage. Saber! Saber hovers there, frozen. Her feet still kick in midair. She hangs suspended there. The air around her seems to have thickened into gelatin. That's no good. Ugh. Can't get close. Some sort of invisible barrier holds me back. The murkiness seems confined to Saber, but so long as her feet don't touch the ground, she can't move. You underestimated me, Saber. I don't know how your mages fared in your life, but I lived during the Age of Gods. It's always the Age of Gods with these people. Is everyone from Greek mythology aside from Saber? Like, that's the Age of Gods, right? Because we got Heracles, we got, Ryder, which I think was some sort of callback to like Perseus, given the Pegasus, I think. Now we got you. I don't know. For all, what are you, the Oracle? To these modern mages, what I do must seem like magic. But a ridiculing laugh echoes out from the depths of that dark robe. Saber's still suspended, helpless in the air. Oh, is this really all you are capable of, Caster? She dismisses us as if it were some dull trick. Negative, Saber. Magic resistance? It repels even my magecraft! Caster steps back. Oh. Well, we just have the hard counter then. Well done, Saber. I congratulate you on your win. After casually nullifying Caster's magecraft, Saber surges toward her at lightning speed. But no, Saber, or you're in range. I mean, I feel like she probably has something else up her sleeve, right? But what can she do? What can she do? right? She's caster. She does magic. Saber is great against magic. I mean, I guess, yeah, there could be a noble phantasm to worry about. I guess an alliance isn't out of the question either. Of like, you know, is she secretly working with the, you know, I don't know, Lancer's master or something? And boom, Lancer's gonna like come out of the bushes and destroy her. But like, yeah. You can't pull all your... You can't... You gotta take your chances. You gotta take your opportunities when they arise. I shouldn't be so apprehensive. We have Caster cornered. If we retreat, we're only giving Caster a chance to win. Saber sword flashes in a blur of movement. She's closed the distance and will likely cleave Caster in half with her next strike. But Saber suddenly stops. It's nothing Caster's done. Saber's own instincts seem to be stopping her from getting closer. Okay. Ew, that is... Saber twists away to dodge. Too late. She falters as if something has lifted her upward, and a strange dagger plunges into her chest. Caster, you just... Yes, this is my noble phantasm, Saber. It's a terribly weak weapon. It cannot create anything, and it certainly cannot kill a servant, or even a human. However, it is imbued with an indulgence from the age of gods, permitting it to, and forgiving it for, doing one very specific thing. Shiro, please, run. Saber's injured, but she collapses to her knees anyways. Ah, does this like steal souls or something? Is it like a soul-stealing dagger? Saber! Before I can figure out what's going on. Well, the final command spell disappears from my left hand. This is just how I planned it, boy. Now if I can just collect the mage and that vessel inside, my victory will be assured. Caster raises her hand. Even without her chanting, the air wavers and blows me off my feet. Ugh! I can't get up. My legs are an absolute mess from that blow and simply won't move. It's about time. Now stand, Saber. Even if the gods punish you, I will forgive you. What? She snickers. Saber stands up. She walks in the same jerky manner as those bone soldiers, slowly approaching me as I lay immobile. Her eyes bulge like she's having a nightmare as she swings her sword down. Well, that's wonderful, Saber. Now you and I will both bear the guilt of killing our own masters. Yes, united in our crimes, we shall curse this earth till its death. Caster's laughter assaults my eardrums. Without even understanding what's going on, I feel my body go rigid. Crimson stains the night. Saber stares down at my blood-soaked body, her eyes filled with tears. Well, dang, I knew something was up. Tiger Dojo. We don't need no Tiger Dojo. We just need to not do what we did previously. There we go. Saber, no! Saber raises her sword. Don't skip it, it's funny. So sorry. I guess next time I die, I'll keep that in mind. She's already closed in on Caster. No, don't Saber! I desperately sprint towards Saber, my heart racing. Saber suddenly halts. It's not clear whether Caster did anything. Saber tenses up after sensing something from Caster. Phew, that is... Saber twists away to dodge. However, bony arms burst from the ground to grab her legs. I wasn't expecting you to have such foresight. But this ends here, Saber. Yeah, that's my noble phantasm. I call it game resetting. I call it time travel. A sharp blade emerges from the folds of Caster's robe. It's an oddly shaped dagger. Thin and brittle, that blade isn't meant for killing. Saber regards it in disgust, and Caster strikes, clearly seeing her opportunity for victory. Being grabbed from the ground must have surprised Saber. As Saber's unable to dodge or deflect the falling dagger, and simply takes the blow, looking astonished. Well, we tried. Are you? I hear Caster's voice from behind me somewhere. I can't see her expression. The only thing I can do is throw myself in front of Saber and take the blow in her place. Okay. This might be bad. Try not... Oh! It wasn't graceful. I didn't have the confidence to just step in and take the dagger to the chest. So instead I tried to shield Saber, hugging her to obscure Caster's targets, and so Caster's dagger plunges into my back, tearing through my spine in a moment of unbelievable pain. Just got stabbed in the back. Ugh. I stopped myself from crying out in pain and mustered my strength to support Saber. I can't hear what she's saying, even as close as she is to my ear. Get back, Saber. Get behind me. Saber understands before I can gather my voice to tell her to jump. I go flying. Saber shakes off the bony hands gripping her legs and carries me with her. Shiro, your wound. Saber's voice is urgent. She lays me gently on the ground, but the pain only grows worse. It feels like scissors tore open my back and someone poured lead down my spine. The pain is unreal. Shiro, stay calm. Shiro! But I'm not exactly losing my mind over it. Hearing Saber practically shouting actually makes me calmer. Tommy, you don't have to shout. I can hear you. It's nothing. It just hurts. Forget about it. Take care of Caster. I point in Caster's direction, my head still down. Yes, I will settle things right away. Please hold on a little longer. Saber turns towards Caster. So did you have no phantasm, was it not, Caster? Saber's voice is harsh, angry. The black shadow clicks her tongue in irritation, ranges a strange dagger in her hand. Yes, as you can see, it is unfit for killing anyone. But as you have sensed, it is my magical trump card, with limitless power for a single purpose. If you do not wish it to touch you, I advise against coming near me, Saber. Caster is talking bold, but she doesn't seem as composed as earlier. Even a powerful mage like Caster can't hurt Saber as long as she's only using MageCraft. Whatever her noble phantasm might be, it can't hurt Saber, even if she surprises her with it. I disagree with that assessment based on prior experience. You should beat her. No problem. I give my orders through gritted teeth. Oh, are you sure, Saber? You could certainly corner me, but who will protect him while you do? Shall I remind you that my CMeeCraft is only ineffective against you? Can you imagine what I might do with my back up against a wall and you not there to protect the boy? Why you? Saber's voice rumbles up from deep in her chest. The rattling of bones grows louder. I'm kneeling on the ground, and Saber holds her sword, defending me as the bones surround us. Damn it. I messed up. Even if I manage to save Saber, there's no point with me being left so weak. I can't move properly, so I'm just slowing Saber down. Castor would be no threat to Saber alone. It's me to worry about. You said you came to talk, Castor. What? Saber? Saber's doing diplomacy now? That's new. Please be quiet, Master. This is the best choice right now. Saber lowers her sword. I think I hear Castor laugh amid the sound of the rattling bones all around us. Let's hear what you have to say, Castor. Depending on what conditions you offer, we might let you go. Are you quite mad? Do you not understand your lives are in my hands? Get too bold and I just might crush you. Do not misunderstand your position. You hold my master's life in your hands, not mine. Should you snuff out that life, I will not hesitate to attack. I will use every ounce of power in my sword to burn you to cinders, even if I disappear as I do so. The air around us goes cold. Saber's words intimidate Castor. I can feel it. Fine, I will not touch the boy. You are my target in any case. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to let just one master off. What? I was your target all this time? I guess you want to look at the profile? Sure, I suppose. Neutral evil. So I think the big thing is the noble phantasm, which we don't know about. Do we know about the weapon? The unnamed dagger. That's not this. We don't really have much of use. Divine. Words of divine. Okay. Indeed, I cannot simply ignore the heroic spirit who defeated Berserker. You and I, along with Lance, are the only servants who remain. With you as an ally, Lance would be no threat at all. Wait, what happened to Assassin? Is that? Huh? We never... I thought Assassin was still up. Only 3. Does that mean Assassin was defeated? Who knows, but he is gone now. So that must mean he was defeated. A servant who can't even protect his own lord deserves no more than that. Assassin was defeated? Does that mean the master in Rudu Temple is gone? I didn't fight them or even know who they were, but now there's one less master. So the only remaining servants are Saber, Castor, and Lancer, who hasn't shown up since that first night. His conversation is over. What I want is your noble phantasm. If you do not wish your master to die, then kindly give me your sword. I'd like, as the one who's dying here, I'd like to veto that. No. Please. There would be no point in doing so. Only I can wield this sword. If you are a heroic spirit, you should know very well that no phantasm can only be used by its owner. Oh yes, I suppose I'll just have to take you as well then, Saber. No matter how skilled a knight, they can be persuaded once captured. And you are my type, too. I so look forward to teaching you manners. Her voice drips with amusement. I feel myself on the verge of passing out, even as my anger boils over. I try to shove the pain aside and start to force myself to stand on numb legs. You piece of... I'm not going to let Saber get captured because of me. I decided I'm going to protect Saber, so I'm not letting a wound like this bring me down. I grab my wooden sword and start slashing at the bones surrounding us. No, Shadow! Saber's voice is brittle, tense. Oh, if you want to kill yourself, I won't stop you. Caster mocks me as I struggle. Bones crack and rattle, and as if to muffle all those sounds, what? Was that? The bones are swept aside in the blink of an eye by a sudden volley of arrows? What? We all stand dumbfounded. There's no way. There's no way. The arrows that rained down on us disappear as if they had been an illusion. But they weren't. The entire horde of bones is gone. Who's that? Caster looks up. Saber must have noticed earlier. Well before Caster, she stares up towards the wall in disbelief. What the heck is this? I don't understand what I'm seeing. Don't we already have 7 servants accounted for, don't we? There's a golden figure standing with the moon behind him. It's a man clad in golden armor, looking down at the yard with a cruel smile. Who's there? Caster raises her voice, instinctively realizing that this is the one who annihilated her troops. He gives no answer. He's not even looking at Caster. His eyes are fixed on one person alone. Saber. Hold on, I just had a thought. If Saber isn't like a proper servant, does that actually mean there's space for one more? Because then does Saber not count towards the total count? Oh. Answer! I'm asking who you are! Caster's voice is heavy with emotion. The golden armored man finally looks at her. Caster gasps as the man's red eyes bore into her. His gaze is impossibly cold. He doesn't even see Caster as human. I can tell as far away as I am. I don't blame Caster for being intimidated, like some icy hand has a grip on her heart. She looked straight into his eyes. Why are you getting in my way? Caster's voice trembles as she speaks. She must know she's doomed if she doesn't do something. But I have no reason to address myself to a mongrel. Begone, clown. His answer comes as a death sentence. I hear a loud snap. By the time I realize it's the sound of him clicking his tongue, the tragedy has begun. Myriad weapons appear in the air, shooting toward Caster like bullets from a machine gun. Caster raises her arm. A conceptual shield envelops her. It forms a glassy film in front of Castor. It is likely every bit as durable as Berserker himself. But her efforts are probably fruitless, as the barrier is merely glass. Her crystalline barrier shatters under the deadly rain of so many weapons. Ah! She sounds utterly dumbfounded, with not a modicum of concern for Castor, as she is so pitifully tilts her head in wonder. The weapons tear through her dark robe. They are merciless. Spears tear into her, sending fabric flying only for yet more of them to plunge into her body. Swords cut down her falling form, while arrows sail toward an arm as it is about to hit the ground. An axe chops off a head, about to complain of the pain. All of it brings Castor to untold peaks of agony. She can't possibly survive. Castor, succumbing to an endless hail of so many different weapons, is no longer even recognizably human. Well, that was an entrance. The wind flows. Her tattered, empty robe floats away. The shredded pieces of it fly skyward in the evening breeze. That torn robe tries valiantly to hold its form. Maybe because it's the only thing remaining to remind us of Castor. I'm completely speechless. My frozen mind is fixed on the miserable remnants of that robe as they float away. And then... Insolent fool. I told her to be gone from my sight. The sensible thing to do would have been to graciously commit suicide before me. The man in gold grunts contemptuously. What? I'm not hallucinating. The dark robe twists like the coils of a snake, then sprouts wings to fly away. But it's too late. I don't know what the man did. I only see a crack in the night sky itself. Like a wave breaking out at sea, the fault line engulfs the fluttering robe. It's like a person being run over by a steamroller. The robe falls. Castor's beneath it, unscathed. And then... again, sheesh! A storm of magical swords rains down onto her. I would have said rains down upon her, but whatever. Her scream splits the night. More swords fall upon her in response, and her scream grows louder. Hold them out! It hurts! Hold them out, please! Castor must be able to heal herself like Saber. Even all those swords impaling her is still not enough to kill her, but it's hard to watch. The torrent of swords do not stop. Each weapon is different. No two are alike. As much as I don't want to admit it, each of the weapons is a magical sword or spear, and is easily a match for Servant's noble phantasm. Oh, wait. That isn't possible. There can't be so many. An inexhaustible supply of noble phantasms rains down onto Castor. Seeing the way she struggles under it is just... Am I going to die? Am I going to die from something so ridiculous as... How funny. Is this some joke? And that is the end of Castor. She disappears along with the black mist that was hiding her. The infinite cycle of torture that seemed to drag on forever lasted, in actuality, about 10 seconds. During that time, Saber stood scowling at the Golden Knight. Huh. A mere mage, even mentioning capturing what belongs to the King of Knights is a great sin. Huh? Wait, is he on our side? I am king and she is mine. Any fool who meddles with a king's treasure is fit for nothing else but such a death. Wait, what? Huh? Who the heck is this guy? Now then, it has been a while, Saber. Do you remember the decision I made? His tone turns amicable as he addresses Saber. But Saber doesn't answer. She only glares all the more intensely at him. Why do you look at me like that? Have you not made your choice yet? It's been 10 years. That should have been time enough to decide. I suppose it has only been 10 years for me. It must seem like yesterday. What a foolish woman you are, making me wait so long. Wait, is he a holdover from the previous war? He laughs heartily. My heart's pounding. Apart from the disaster just witnessed. But beyond that, the way he's looking at Saber is making me nauseous. Some mongrels yet remain. He glances toward the house, annoyed. No, they're not mongrels! I assure you. Huh? I look and see Tasaka and Ilya on the veranda, in front of the living room. What is that? Ilya looks up at the man like she's just seen a ghost. Ilya, go. Leave, please. This is not going to turn out well for you, I don't think. She strains her eyes for a moment, then shakes her head in disbelief. No way. Who are you? Huh. Can't you tell, fool? I am one of the heroic spirits you know so well. You can't be! Ilya jumps off the veranda and glares at the man as if in challenge. I don't know you. There shouldn't be a servant I don't know about. Wait, Ilya! My words don't reach her. Ilya releases a mass of magical energy straight at the man. What are you trying to do, Ilya? I hear it rushing through the air. He does nothing. A mirrored shield appears in front of him and reflects Ilya's attack back at her. Ilya... Huh? She'd been so blind and desperate in her attack that now she has no time to react to it. Ilya can only stand there as her attack rebounds toward her. Oh, thank goodness, Tasaka. That hurt. Tasaka steps in and saves her, blocking the attack. Huh. I see, so we have an odd one this time around. I see they've done a bit of creative thinking to avoid repeating their mistake last time. He looks down at Ilya, scrutinizing her. He looks at Ilya the same way he looks at Saber, coldly, as though appraising prized possessions. No, 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 no! I hate you! Ilya glares at the man, while Tasaka tries to hold her back. I could not possibly care less. Come now, open yourself up. Quickly now, you aren't the fit one after all. Huh? He says it so simply. I'm not sure why that had an effect on her. No! Elia trembles violently, then slumps to the ground. That's it. Nothing else can happen. To suck it, I can only look up at the man. We completely understand. He's not looking at us. If either of us so much as speaks, we'll meet the same fate as Castor. But not Saber. Her silence as she stares up at the Golden Knight is entirely different than ours. How and why have you manifested, Archer? Not like our Archer, though, right? Saber tries to keep her voice under control. To suck it, I can only gasp in surprise. Unless... Is he? I require no reason. The Holy Grail is mine. What reason could I need to collect what is mine? Nonsense, you're not that kind of hero. Or rather... Stop, another word and you will be forced to fight King of Knights. I intend to do... Or no, I think that's him addressing her, I guess. I intend to do so, but I've lost interest. This place is too unsightly. It is not fit to celebrate our reunion. And with that, the man in gold turns away. He turns back to us, as if to demonstrate that we are no threat. We shall meet again, Saber. My decision remains unchanged since our last meeting. Be prepared to make your choice by the time we next meet. He disappears. The tension fades and the yard returns to the usual tranquility. But it's the only thing that returns to how it was. The Emir house is in shambles. Adelia has fainted. And Saber, still with her back to us, remains silent. New servant data added, eh? Who the heck is this guy? We have Archer, the cool one. And then we got other Archer. Apparently he's chaotic good. I guess that's... Just checking something. Yeah, okay, EX. EX. He's broken the scale. We have no info. We've got some skills. He's got charisma. Huh. What the heck? We have so many new weapons. We have the laundry drying pole. We have Varja. We have Harpe. Duranda. It's like... Okay. I set a futon out in the living room and lay the unconscious Ilya on it. She may have fainted, but her face is peaceful at least. Hey, don't look away. The bandage will slide off. I feel a hand slap my back. Ouch, Tasaka! Is that any way to treat the injured? Shut up, I'm treating your wounds, so hold still. Come on, raise your right hand. I doubt you need it, but let me put some ointment on it. Yeah, cold. If you can feel it, you're fine. Come on, let me wrap it. She wraps the bandage around my right shoulder with surprising skill. It's past 10. After a battle with Castor, Tasaka began treating my wounds as soon as we got back to the living room. Well, she started, but most of my wounds had already healed, so now she's just fussing over me. And we're done. Your body's nuts. Only vampires heal like you do. Are you sure you're human? Last I checked. I think she said something similar before. Hey, I'm just an ordinary human being. Even I don't know what's going on with my body, so don't bother asking. Don't mess with me. Who in the world could possibly be walking normally after getting their spinal cord severed? Oh, is that what happened? Look, it's useful, so I won't question it too much. But it's also getting creepy. Don't tell me you can't die unless your head is chopped off. This is the Fate series. This is not, I repeat, not Highlander, alright? We can't be crossing the streams like that. That two completely different battle royales, alright? The scary thing here is that Tosaka is serious. One of these days, she might actually try for my neck with an axe. You think so too, right, Saber? I think you're the cause, but still, he's damn near immortal. Are you saying Shiro's healing power is not his own? It'd be really impressive if it was. Of course not. Do you think someone who only knows strengthening MeeCraft could do something like that? I mean, one could argue I'm just strengthening my own body. This ridiculousness can only be a result of his connection with you. Your own healing power must be flowing into him. Do you think so? I never felt that kind of connection with him before. If you're correct, my magical energy should be flowing into Shiro as we speak. More importantly, my healing power is not as strong as Shiro. Say, what's wrong? You just went pale. Saber stares off into space, apparently not even hearing Tosaka. No, it can't be. Saber shakes her head and looks down. What? Should I be realizing something yet, or... Huh? Tosaka and I each exchange looks. Saber's acting weird. Actually, I know why. Ever since that golden knight appeared, Saber's been pretty down. Well, let's put Shira's issue on hold for now. Saber, did you know that gold guy we met earlier? Goldie said something about you being his or something? Saber doesn't answer. She obviously doesn't want to talk about it. And the only thing I can think of is maybe somehow I possess the sheath. Right, that would be very healing. And that would be something that Saber would have like an intimate connection to. So she'd be like, oh my goodness, I just realized. That's crazy. That's the only theory I can come up with right now. But I don't think we really have any direct evidence of that. Yeah, but I still want to know. Tosaka's asking the questions I want answers to. Saber, if you know, then tell us. Who was the guy? You called him Archer? Yes, I had to admit it, but I know that man. It should be impossible, though. There should only be 7 servants, so it shouldn't be possible for him to have been summoned as well. Although, if he won the last war, and then his wish was to, like, continue existing, like, to continue, like, to live a new life, I guess maybe that's how he could still be around? A servant? So he really is a servant? That's pretty obvious. That could be a real problem for us. His class is Archer. He's of course a completely different rogue spirit than the Archer who formed a contract with Rin. His abilities and temperament are different as well. I can tell. I only saw him briefly, but it was more than enough to get a sense of what a monster he is. Hold on a minute, that doesn't make sense. If he's an archer and a servant, that makes 8. When only 7 servants can be summoned at a time, one disappearing doesn't mean another pops up to take their place. Besides, even the Holy Grail doesn't have the magical energy to summon more than 7. Only 7 servants because that's how many can be summoned at once. So how can they summon an 8? Wait. Saber, did you meet him in the previous war? Yes, friend. On the final day in the previous Holy Grail War, I fought him in the Sea of Fire. For a moment, my entire body tenses. Saber fought in a Sea of Fire? Well, yeah, I was gonna say, we've known that for a while. This is nothing new. I'd heard from Kotomine that the fire was caused by the Holy Grail War, so it shouldn't be a surprise. I'm trying not to think about it all this time. So what happened? Did you manage to beat him? Well, obviously not. She didn't win that war. I did not defeat him. That is, I could not defeat him because you were beaten instead? Unlike your messed up summoning through Shiro, you can beat this guy even when you were summoned properly? Saber hangs her head but doesn't answer. And that's answer enough. Saber couldn't win? Not this imperfect Saber hobbled by my weakness, but Saber with nothing holding her back? Is that even possible? If you consider her expressly in terms of her strength as a swordsman, Saber isn't invincible. She was weaker than Berserker. But Saber is her noble phantasm. The other servants' noble phantasms are powerful, but Saber's exceeds them all. Well, I mean, except for this guy's, apparently. It's hard to believe there could be a hero in this world that her sacred sword can't defeat. There's only one explanation. He wasn't summoned for this war. He must be a servant who remained from the previous war. Nothing else makes sense. Yeah. My mind stops working. It's not that I agree with Tosaka's assessment. Well, if he's not in this war, then we can just kind of not worry about him, right? You know, I mean, he did us a great favor at killing Caster. That just leaves Lancer. Eliminate him, boom, we've won the Grail War. Simple as that. But she just described what I've been hoping could be possible since yesterday. But that is... There are not buts. It's the only possible explanation. Only 7 servants can be summoned for each Holy Grail War. If there are any other servants here, wouldn't that mean they're the winners who survived the previous war? There's a heavy silence. Yet, why does Tosaka look so pleased? Tosaka, why do you look so happy? Isn't it obvious? There's precedence. I don't know who that guy is, but he's the servant who won the last Holy Grail War, right? Then he must have obtained the Holy Grail, and he's staying in this world with its power. Ah. That means he's proof that as long as you obtain the Holy Grail, a servant can remain in this world. I'd like to capture him and question him for more information. You think you could capture that guy? Best of luck to you, but I'm out for that one. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Tosaka. I'm assuming that I don't know who that guy is, but he's a servant and he's remained in this world since the previous war. Which means there's a way for Saber to do the same. Well, I don't know who he is or what his motives are, but it doesn't change the fact that he's an enemy we need to defeat. Doesn't it, though? If he's not part of this Grail War, then, like, he's a non-factor, right? Unless I misunderstand how it works. Saber, so what's his true identity? I do not know. Even during the previous war, I could not determine his identity. He did not have a noble phantasm specific to him. He didn't have a noble phantasm that made it clear who he was. That's ridiculous. A servant who doesn't have a noble phantasm wouldn't be a servant, right? Besides, he just... That's right, he had plenty of them. It shouldn't be too hard to figure out his identity since he used so many. We just need to figure out which hero would match the shapes and sizes of the noble phantasms used. Then I shall ask you this. Do you remember any of the noble phantasms used? Well. There was Down's Leaf, there was Varha, there was Harpe, there was... Actually, I don't think that he had the golden sword of assured victory. There's Durandal. Of course I do. Tosaka thinks hard for a moment. She folds her arms over her chest, frowning. And then just tilts her head in confusion. No way, that's impossible. Huh? What's going on, Tosaka? What's impossible? I don't believe it. The one covered in blood was Dainsleaf. And that sickle-looking thing was Harpe. There's one that looked Chinese too, and I think there was one that looked like it was used by Akala? Tosaka looks almost crazed as she mutters to herself. So she has all of them? Or he has all of them? A bunch of different things. Interesting. Either that means he's some crazy anomaly, or maybe like a really great conqueror, right? Maybe he has noble phantasms from like all over the world because he conquered like all over the world. So yeah, I mean, you got some prominent historical figures then. You got Genghis Khan, eh? Maybe this archer is Genghis Khan. You got, and he wouldn't be quite to China, but you got Alexander the Great conquers a lot. Obviously, Roman emperors. You got Hadrian, who ruled over, I think, close to the largest extent of the empire, but you could argue maybe more so Julius Caesar is more of a conqueror. But again, most of his conquests would have been... I know he ends up ruling over the empire in its entirety, but most of his conquests ends up being the, in kind of the Gaul sort of region. Yeah, I mean, those are kind of some major ideas. Of course, this entire theory of, like, he has all the no phantasm because he's a great conqueror and therefore has access to, like, large regions of the world. That could be entirely wrong, too, of course. Well, good night, Jedi Steve. Thanks for watching. So that one was similar to Saber Sword, but it should be different. The simple design looks like it must have come from Northern Europe, and I heard most originals of magical swords tend to take their cues from Nordic sources. She's even starting to grind her teeth. Hey, it's Osaka. Then going into like more recent history, obviously you got the Soviet Union takes over a large portion of this kind of old world area. Especially if you're considering their sphere of influence, like the Warsaw Pact, not just the Soviet Union proper. So we've got like a Joseph Stalin, but that seems unlikely. Leaving her to her own devices will do more harm than good. If I don't stop her right now, we'll wind up paying the price later. Especially me. Tosaka! Tosaka! Come back to us! Shut it, Shiro! Your butting in is just confusing me! I'm not trying to butt in. You're talking about that guy's noble phantasm, right? Judging just from their shapes, there was Dainsleaf, Harpe, Durandal, Vara, Khaled, oh, and Gabulg? Oh, maybe his ability is that he, like... Maybe... Because Gabulg, that's Lancer's phantasm. Maybe it's not, like, anything he had to do with, like, what he did in his life. Maybe it's more so that his ability is he, like, assimilates the phantasms of the other heroic spirits he defeats, maybe? I know the Chinese one, but I think I covered all the famous ones. Yeah, you're right, on all counts. I don't love the face. I don't love the face she's making. It leaves me feeling even worse. I don't know much, but I just blurted out what leapt into my head. But what does that mean? There's no hero who has such an insane number of noble phantasms. More importantly, the weapons are from all over the place, so I have no idea what the hell's going on. Yes, that is why even I could not discern his identity. He employed a wide variety of noble phantasms, each of which should have been a sign of a specific hero. Archer had so many, I could not narrow down his identity. The two look perplexed. Well, with so many noble phantasms, we have no hope of determining who he is. It's like hiding a leaf in a forest. Shiro, don't you have any suggestions? Tosaka, obviously annoyed, glares at me expecting. I'm not sure what she's just... She glares at me expecting. I'm not sure what. She's just taking her frustration out on me, I guess. Like what? Like anything you noticed or deduced? Any flash of inspiration? You need some real outside-the-box thinking here. The only chance of solving this predicament is through sheer luck. She may be right. I get it, you're making fun of me. Rude, I just think you're no help in the first place, so what do you think? I've got nothing. I raise my hands up in surrender. Tosaka grunts. That leaves us with only one conclusion, Saber. Saber, do you think all his noble phantasms are fakes? Some of their explanation. I agree, however. Huh, they weren't fakes? Huh, they weren't fakes. How did I figure that out? Besides, fake noble phantasms wouldn't have harmed Castor. How do you figure it, Mia? I'm just saying, they were real. Actually, everything else seemed fake. Huh? It's intuition. I can't explain it, but those were all real. Lance's Gabelg is real, of course, but the spear the other guy used is also the real Gabelg. What? Her making that face isn't making explaining this any easier. It doesn't help that I have no idea how I know this. I just know all his noble phantasms are real. I can feel it. Maybe it's because I used projection during our battle against Berserker. After seeing all those noble phantasms, I can tell they're all real. A great weapon is imbued with specific concepts, while imitations lack something. I learned that much when I replicated Saber's sword. In that regard, I think all the noble phantasms that Servant had were perfect. Let's just set what Shiro set aside. Since we don't know that guy's true identity, we should think of our next moves. Tosaka sneaks a glance at Saber. Assuming he's after the Holy Grail, there's one more thing bothering me. Saber, can I be blunt? Why does she always have that mischievous look when it comes to topics like this? What do you mean, Rin? If there's something you would like to know, you need not hold back. Are you sure? Okay then. What do you think of him, Saber? From the way he was talking at you, he seems to have the hots for you. I'm not following Tosaka's lead, but I also sneak a glance towards Saber. I don't think Tosaka has it wrong. He seemed obsessed with Saber. Actually, it's beyond being obsessed. From the very beginning, he only saw Saber as his possession. I do not care what he thinks. I do, however, recall him proposing marriage in the previous war. Of course, I banished that idea with my sword. Interesting. Propose? You mean that kind of proposal? What? What the heck is that servant thinking? Especially considering I'm pretty sure only one servant can survive to the end of the war, so, you know, I mean, that'd be a bit of a short-lived marriage. Granted, I guess they're all celebrities, so that's being historical figures and all, so that's not exactly a surprise, but still. Oh, I don't know that I should celebrate that, but I get the sense you don't feel too bad about it either. It's flattering for a woman being proposed to, even after you've become a servant. That's not true. I do not have that kind of freedom. My only goal is to obtain the Holy Grail. Honestly, that kind of nonsense irritates me. Really? You might feel that way, but he seemed really into you. Guys like that, they don't get discouraged even when you reject them. You're stubborn too, so maybe you two are a good match. Tosaka's being irresponsible, so I'm not sure why she looks so amused. Tosaka looks like she's happy to have a conversation like this with Saber, even though Saber seems disinterested. I keep telling you that I have no interest in such things. He is certainly a skilled, heroic spirit, but he and I are of vastly different minds. Saber's responses are at least sincere. Oh, did you hear that, Shiro? Saber has no interest in men. Relieved. Rina, Shiro has nothing to do with this conversation. There's no logic in what you've just said. I figured, my bad. But if you're not sure why I'm so amused, I have to say, this whole thing is just funny. Tosaka laughs menacingly. Her eyes make it clear she's laughing at me as much as at Saber. I don't know what's pissing me off, but I get up without a word. Huh? Where are you going, Shiro? Tea. I'm getting thirsty, and I figured I'd prepare tea for everyone. I huff and head towards the kitchen. I don't know why, but I'm just irritated, so I decided to make super bitter tea for Tosaka. That'll show her. Then I'm going back to my room for now. Let's talk more tomorrow when Ilya wakes up. After teasing Saber for a good while, Tosaka gulps down her bitter tea and gets up. Yeah, go to sleep. Don't come back here. Fine, fine. I'm leaving the rest to you here. I don't know why she's so amused, but Tosaka's mood seems good even as she turns back to the outbuilding. What will you be doing, Shiro? Your wounds may have healed, but you should not push yourself. You should also rest for the night. Yeah, I intend to. But I'm going to watch Ilya a little more. If she seems alright, I'll take her to the spare room, and then I'll go to bed too. I see, then I will stay as well. And that's where our conversation ends. Tosaka was the one making all the noise, so it's gotten awkward now that it's quiet. Well, it's not that it's awkward. I'm anxious because there's so many questions rattling around in my head. And so many things I want to say. Come to think of it, I haven't really been able to talk to Saber about the Holy Grail. About her not being dead. About how even if she obtains the Holy Grail, there's no salvation for her. There's no need to explain why. She still doesn't have a wish for herself. Saber, about our conversation earlier. Our eyes meet. Hers tell me that she knows what I want to say. Yes, what is it, Shiro? She tries to divert what I have to say with her quiet tone. But I have to talk to her. I said about our earlier conversation. Tosaka said servants can stay in this world if they obtain the Holy Grail. So... No, I have no intention of remaining here. The moment I obtain the Holy Grail, I will return to my original time. So you're going to redo the selection of the king? Rather than saving yourself from the brink of death, you want to start over from the very beginning? Yes, it is the king's duty to protect their nation. I was inadequate, so I must at least select an appropriate king in my stead. She says it's like she's talking about a stranger. For some reason I get real mad. You idiot! Wake up! The hell with the king's duty. What matters is that you're here, so you should do what you want to do. Well, the thing is here, this is what she wants to do. You're strong, right? Then finish off this war right now. Get your holy grail and quit being a servant. If you have a wish, don't use it to go back in time and redo everything. If you want to change, don't change your past self, but find a way to change now, then return to the past from here. Saber doesn't answer. She sighs. You're very persistent, Shiro. Please let this matter rest. She rejects what I said outright. Obtaining the Holy Grail does not mean I can remain in the stage. Archer, that servant does not remain in the stage because he obtained the Holy Grail. It was not possible to obtain the Holy Grail in the previous war. Huh? How so? What? Huh? What do you mean? One cannot obtain what does not exist. On that night when the town was ablaze, the Holy Grail was destroyed. Destroyed by my master, who betrayed me, Kiritsugu Emiya. What? Huh? What? The edges of my vision go dark. I nearly fell backward, but catch myself with both hands. Kiritsugu Emiya. Yes, 10 years ago he was my master in the previous Holy Grail War. Kiritsugu and I survived until the very end, and the Holy Grail was in Kiritsugu's hands. What? And that... Archer and his master were still left, and we had only to defeat them to bring an end to the Holy Grail War. But Kiritsugu abandoned the Holy Grail. As a result, the town was consumed in flames. Wait, it's his fault? Straight up? Like not... He ordered me to destroy the Holy Grail. The servants are the only ones capable of touching it. Kiritsugu used his final commands to force me to destroy the Holy Grail. Why? What the heck is this guy's issue? With the Holy Grail gone, servants could not remain in this world. Kiritsugu did not try to keep me here. This is my last memory. I could not conclude my battle with that golden knight archer, nor ask Kiritsugu why he betrayed me. It's not like I never thought about it. My old man was a mage. If he lived in this town, he could have been involved in a Holy Grail war. But still. Why didn't you tell me, Saber? Why didn't you tell me my old man was a master? A servant typically does not retain their memories from previous summonings. The same heroic spirit is not typically summoned as a servant consecutively. I am an exception to this rule. That is why I determined it would be best not to mention that to you. I see. And I was not eager to speak with you about what sort of master Kiritsugu was. Huh? Why didn't you want to tell me? Was he like awful to you? Sure, in much the same way you have witnessed my past in my dreams, I have seen your past as well. I was surprised by your past and can't believe how much Kiritsugu had changed. The Kiritsugu Emiya of your memories was a wonderful person, but he is nothing like the man I remember. In brief, he was a typical mage. He acted purely out of self-interest, and he destroyed anything in his way. I saw not a hint of human emotion from him. In the course of the entire war, he spoke to me only 3 times. That just seems bad tactically. I don't think I need to explain those 3 occasions to you. Only when he used the command spells. Ouch. He was not brutal or some gleeful murder. He was wholly without emotion. Kiritsugu treated me as nothing more than a tool and saw himself in much the same way. Kiritsugu killed every single one of his own emotions, just as he killed each of his enemies. I never learned what true of him, what he believed in, but in the moments I stood before the Holy Grail, he commanded me to destroy it. To be honest, never have I more bitterly cursed the command spells or betrayer than in that moment. There's truth in Saber's words. No, they must all be true. I realized I knew nothing about what Kiritsugu was like before I met him. There's no way for me to find out what kind of person he'd been before that. There was no need. Even if Kiritsugu Miya was cold-hearted, it wouldn't change a thing. The man who adopted Shiro Miya as his son was so much warmer. That's the only truth about him to me. But what nags at me is, if Kiritsugu truly was so ruthless, and his final moments were just too empty and futile. I see. Then maybe I was able to summon you because I am Kiritsugu's son. I do not know. Kiritsugu summoned me after taking the proper steps. He had the aptitude to be a master, and so was hired by a mage family with a long history to join the Holy Grail War. I hear that house provided everything he needed to be a master. They excavated a relic of King Arthur from Cornwall and gave it to Kiritsugu to use for the Holy Grail War. Kiritsugu used it as a catalyst to summon me, King Arthur. Okay. And I bet that relic must have been the sheath. Which I guess I probably have now. Which probably is why I'm so good at healing myself. So Kiritsugu did not possess a connection to me, nor did he possess any attributes in common with me. There must be some other factor which enabled you to summon me. I got it. I'm not that surprised my old man was a master. What does surprise me is that his servant is the same King Arthur with me now. And one more thing. Saber said that the Holy Grail was destroyed. Then, maybe this war is meaningless to begin with. I don't get it. You already knew there's no Holy Grail, right? So why did you decide to join this ridiculous war? What? Isn't it like a new Grail or something, right? Like it exists this time? I cannot say for certain whether the Holy Grail is truly here or not. But so long as I have been summoned, there must be a Holy Grail. So you can say for certain that it's here. Have you forgotten, Shiro? I have become a servant expressly to obtain the Holy Grail. Put another way, I would not have been summoned to a place if there was no Holy Grail. Oh yeah, but then does that mean a Holy Grail can fix itself after it's destroyed? No, the Holy Grail is not something that can be easily replaced. The Holy Grail, once destroyed, cannot be restored. But it should exist. Servants are drawn to the Holy Grail and manifest without a Holy Grail. Servants will not appear. The priest mentioned that already. The priest? Oh yeah, that guy. The guy living in the church, the overseer of the Holy Grail War. Then who's managing the Holy Grail should be able to answer all my questions. The end of the previous war, the whereabouts of the destroyed Holy Grail, and how that archer is still around. Yeah, what did Kiritsugu see at the end of the battle that made him want to destroy the Holy Grail? I wake up alone. Even if she's recovered, Saber still needs to sleep on occasion. The moment we return to our rooms, Saber immediately falls asleep. I went to bed as well, if only to make her feel better. That was about an hour ago. It's past midnight, and I should be able to get out of the house without Saber or Tosaka noticing at this hour. I'm so gonna get ambushed. Yeah, one thing I've noticed, like, we haven't seen anything from Sakura in a very long time. She's, like, important in the beginning of the game. I bet, like, I guess we probably won't. I bet she's probably more important in a different route is what's going on with that. Because, like, she was a pretty major character in the early parts, and then she just kind of disappeared from the whole plot, so... There's probably a plot... she's probably more relevant on a different route, I'd imagine. Anyways, I sneak outside, trying not to make a sound. I thought of using the bike, but I'd just run the risk of waking them up. So I walk, because bikes are notoriously extremely noisy. There's not a single person outside. It's late, but the silence is still eerie. The air is frozen, and there doesn't seem to be any sign of life in the buildings. On the other hand, it feels like something dark and sinister is swirling at my feet. Did something happen to the town where Ilya had me prisoner? Or while Ilya had me prisoner? It's like a bad omen hangs over the entire place. This isn't my imagination. I look up toward the mountain in the distance. Rudu Temple, which stands a distance away from town, only looks like a black lump from here. But that... it looks like it's swaying in the night air, rumbling and throbbing. I cross the dark river and walk into Shinto. Huh. So it's been 10 days. On that day, the night I met Saber for the first time and then walked across this bridge with Tasaka seems so long ago. I see the church. I've never been here before. I may have said as much to Tasaka, but I did have a connection with that church. If things had gone differently, I would have ended up under the care of the church, and then been adopted by some family later on. It would have been either the Emiya family or that church. One hell of a fork in the road. 10 years ago. All the kids in that hospital were orphans. The church took them all in, at least temporarily. I was the only one in that group of orphans to be adopted from the hospital. That's probably why I've been unconsciously avoiding the church out of guilt. It's also why 11 days ago I told Tasaka it was my first time going to the church. The lights inside the church are on. I don't really like that priest, but there are things I need to ask him. Okay, let's go. I take a deep breath and put my hand on the heavy church doors. Father Kotomine, are you here? I step inside as I call out for him. There's nobody in the chapel. The lights are on, but this vast space is so quiet I find myself more nervous than if it were dark. Hey, is anyone here? There's no reply. I can't keep going in further, so I might have to give up tonight. I whirl around when I hear a sound from behind me. Tsurumiya, what brings you here at this hour? The suddenness of his appearance leaves me speechless. It is the dead of night. I'd hoped to go to sleep, but the look on your face tells me you want to pretend to perform some sort of penance, Shirumiya. Kotomine sounds bored and turns back to the door he came through. Oh, hold on. I came here to ask you something. I know that. I do not intend to turn anyone away, no matter how odd an hour they choose to arrive. As Kotomine says so, he opens the door to the back of the church. Follow me. I'm sure you are here to talk about the Holy Grail more. I cannot allow such bloody talk here. Kotomine doesn't bother asking my opinion, he just disappears into the back of the church. Okay. I've come this far, I can't go home empty-handed. I steel myself, determined not to let Kotomine intimidate me this time, and head towards the back of the church. Oh, this is a nice place. Oh, the outside's impressive, but the inside is pretty intricate too. There's also a courtyard. The garden and the passageways are too magnificent for Kotomine to live here alone. What are you doing? If you want to talk, come with me. The priest disappears around yet another corner. Damn, he's not waiting for me. I complain to myself as I chase after Kotomine. The church is a small labyrinth, so I don't have any choice but to follow Kotomine. We enter a modest stone chamber. This simple room, far from the elegance of that chapel and courtyard, must be thought of Kotomine's private room. Please forgive my inability to offer you anything in the way of hospitality. The priest makes his apology as he plops down onto a sofa. I smell the faint aroma of what might be wine. For the smell to linger in this room, he must really like wine. What is wrong? I thought you came here to talk. If you're going to just stand there like a fool, I'm going to be very annoyed. Nobody's standing around like a fool. I was just looking around because this room seemed weird. I'm going to go home as soon as I finish my business here. That is a relief. I have no time to chat with children. I ask that you be brief. This priest really gets on my nerves. I feel like he's reading my mind, and whenever I try to deal with him directly, I just get intimidated. So, what is it that you want to talk about, Shiromiya? I thought I told you everything I could. Don't lie. You knew all along. You knew my old man was Saber's master, and that the Holy Grail was destroyed. You're the overseer here to manage the Holy Grail, so you can't not know. Ooh. Did Saber tell you herself? Yeah, I heard that's how the last Holy Grail war ended. The priest falls silent, contemplating something. It is unusual for a servant to retain memories from previous summons. Either Saber is defective, or there's something unusual about her. Either way, I cannot say she is a normal servant. Heroic spirits do not retain their memories. Yeah, we know this. We've gone over this before. Alright, get to the good stuff. As there are summons in the past, present, and future, their reshaping memories of these summonings would create contradictions. They instead have memories only from their lives. Any memories made after their death, once they become heroic spirits, should not remain with them. He ponders this as if he still isn't convinced. I get it. Kotomine doesn't know Saber hasn't fully become a heroic spirit, so he can't truly understand the situation. That's not what's going on. Saber's circumstances are different from other servants. Different circumstances. I see, so this must be why you visited me. Very well, tell me. His haughty attitude pisses me off, but I don't have time to deal with that too. I don't like it, but this man might be able to give me a clear explanation. It seems Saber isn't dead yet. Her contract to become a heroic spirit isn't complete. It appears she wished for the Holy Grail just as she was dying, and she agreed to become a heroic spirit as the price of obtaining it. So, see, she's not completely dead. She's only mostly dead. She won't die until she obtains the Holy Grail, and that's when she'll become a servant in the normal sense. Not dead. Then Saber must still be in the cycle of reincarnation. Are you saying she is not removed from the flow of time like other heroic spirits? I'm not quite sure how to answer that. Yeah, I think that's what it means. Just like I said, Saber's basically been carved out of time. I see. So rather than disappearing after her role is finished like typical heroic spirits, She will be summoned as a heroic spirit again and 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 again until she obtains the Holy Grail. Sorry for the repetition there, I just thought it would be useful to illustrate the point and the gravity of the situation. But since she has yet to obtain the Holy Grail, whenever her attempt to gain one fails, she is sent back to the moment of her death. And now she has been summoned for this war and retains her memories from the last. I really can't say I understand heroes who go out of their way to seek the Holy Grail only to die. But once she obtains it, the only fate awaiting her is being used by others as a servant. Right, even if she gets the Holy Grail and has her wish granted, she'll just become another servant. Again. I don't like that. Besides, what are servants? You say you use heroic spirits like familiars, but are there contradictory heroic spirits like Saber? Who knows? I don't know a great deal about how that part of the system works. The permanence of the soul, the servant system, was created to imitate that sacred method. Only those who established the system would know more. The permanence of the soul? Well, I'm only speaking of how it was in the past. It really doesn't matter anymore. Forget it. You can't just drop the permanence of the soul and forget about it. Jeez. So, Shiromia, bottom line, do you not want your Saber to be a servant any longer, correct? Is that what I want? I do think Saber's situation is messed up. Aiming for the Holy Grail is all well and good, but afterwards, the only thing waiting for her is her disappearance. Even if someone other than King Arthur is chosen as king, and when King Arthur ceases to exist in our history, the hero King Arthur will continue to be used by who knows how many others. That seems wrong to me. So if she can stop being a servant and just live a normal life, that is impossible. The dead cannot come back to life. It does not matter if she is frozen in time. To us, Saber has already died. The power of the Holy Grail is what summoned her here. It is what keeps her here, and this is possible because she agreed to the conditions of becoming a heroic spirit. If she does not seek the Holy Grail, she will not be summoned as a servant, but as long as she continues to seek it, no matter how long it takes, she will eventually become a complete servant. Even if she fails this time, she will have infinite other chances. Saber is frozen in time, so she cannot attempt 2 Holy Grail wars simultaneously, and she cannot re-attempt a trial once failed. If she failed a trial once, she will fail again no matter how many times she tries. She has already experienced it, and so the results cannot be changed. Okay. It's likely only a matter of time before she obtains the Holy Grail. This Holy Grail war is not the only chance she has of doing so. There are trials to obtain the Holy Grail in every era. If she fights in every war, she will eventually obtain the Holy Grail. After all, she is being summoned as a heroic spirit because she's under the belief that she'll obtain the Holy Grail. Under the belief that, won't she? From the moment she came before you as a servant, the option of making her stop being a servant was non-existent. I knew it. As long as Saber seeks the Holy Grail, there's no way she can avoid becoming a servant. She will stay like this forever unless she decides to use the Holy Grail for herself. Even if this Holy Grail war ends, then there's no need to fight anymore. If she doesn't obtain the Holy Grail, she just has to try again next time. When she obtains it, she turns into the so-called heroic spirit and is sent all across time. So whether she obtains the Holy Grail or not, she'll remain a servant forever. Well, not necessarily. If the Holy Grail is truly omnipotent, it may be able to save Saber. Like, I guess one thing, because, yeah, this is always a tough thing with regards to wishes, like, how many clauses can my wish have, right? Like, could we theoretically wish for, like, you know, Britain to be saved, but then also for Saber to, you know, live a nice life? Is the and also allowed, or does it have to be, like, one thing? But even if it has to be one thing, like, that is its own sort of can of worms, right? Because, like, if I wish for, like, just generally good health for the rest of my days, that's one wish. I don't think anyone would say that that counts as, like, a combined wish. But it is technically more things than if, say, I just wished for, like, hey, I would like my heart, specifically, to be healthy for the rest of my days. So, like, you know, what is a thing? What is a wish? Like, how far down do you break it down before, or how encompassing can a wish be before it becomes, practically speaking, multiple wishes? I don't know. You can only wish for something you can imagine? Well, I can imagine a whole heck of a lot. But you just said that was impossible. Look, omnipotence is pretty powerful. Correct, there is no way to stop Saber from being a servant. But what you desire is for her to remain in this world, yes? It is not so difficult. A servant can remain here, human, once the Holy Grail War ends. Though once she dies, she will return to where she was just before she died. How do I do that? Heroic spirits and servants are similar, but there are differences. Normally, heroic spirits are not summoned with a will of their own. They are simply summoned as a tool to fulfill specific goals, after which they disappear. But servants are different. They are the original body that was summoned by the Holy Grail. As such, they can live human lives just by remaining in this world. Can you do something like that? Saber said the Holy Grail disappeared the moment it was destroyed last time. Without the Holy Grail, I thought servants can't stay. Of course they could not. The Holy Grail is what summons servants, and it's the Master's role to maintain them following the summoning. That, however, is also only possible because the Holy Grail is aiding the Master. Typically, a single mage cannot produce enough magical energy to maintain the servant. Without an incredible source of magical energy like the Holy Grail, servants will disappear. I figured. Then... well, if there is a shortfall, one only needs compensate for it. That is all supplying magical energy to servants is. Their natural tendency is to consume souls. If their existence starts to fade, they simply can replenish themselves with more souls. That doesn't seem like the sort of life Saber would want. Ugh. Is he telling me to attack random people like Shinji did? The hell, I can't let her do that! Anyway, Saber wouldn't want to remain here if that's what she had to do it. Is that so? Then you would have to use the contents of the Holy Grail. It's quite simple. If you truly want Saber to live as a human, have a drink from the Holy Grail. He must have anticipated my resistance. What would that do? The look on his face tells me that this is the conclusion he wanted me to reach this whole time. Are you telling me to grant my wish using the Holy Grail? No, this has nothing to do with your wish. I'm talking about the contents of the Holy Grail. Did Rin not tell you? Servants are able to start a second life in this world by drinking the water of the Holy Grail. Though this method only establishes their position as a familiar in this age, their physical body remains that of a servant, and they would remain in this world only for so long as their master lives. What, red flags? Nonsense. What are you saying? You saying this guy is clearly going to be like the master of Goldie and I'm about to be harvested for my souls? Nonsense. Nonsense. But that means That's no solution. Even if she were able to stay in this world, it would be pointless if she's still a servant. She wouldn't be able to exist without magical energy from her master. And even if she managed to live in this world for a long time, she'd just go back to that deal after her death. Saber would never agree to such a thing. She doesn't care about a second life. She insists she's going to use the Holy Grail for something else. But then again, does the Holy Grail, the key to all of this, even still exist in this world? I've heard enough. Basically, you're telling me to get the Holy Grail, but does the Holy Grail even exist? If my old man destroyed it, wouldn't it... Wouldn't it what? If the Holy Grail doesn't exist, then there's no reason to fight. This ridiculous fight to the death is pointless. There is no reason to fight, you say? Why bring that up now? You never had a reason to fight in the first place. He says that. And time seems to just stop. There's no reason to fight. He told me that before. I'd just become a master and I didn't have much of a reason to fight. So at the time, what he said didn't sink in. I just ignored him, thinking he was being sarcastic. But what about now? There's a reason for me to fight. If there's a Holy Grail, I want to end this war, and if it's possible, I want to give the Grail to Saber. There is a reason for me to fight. And a perfectly good one at that. But why? Why do those simple words make me shake so much? I feel like I'm about to vomit up everything I've held in for so long. Let's leave that aside for now. This is not the time to open old wounds. A voice shatters the stillness that had locked up my thoughts. It's the voice of a man I don't want to hear. But that voice at least settles the wave of nausea I feel creeping up on me. The Holy Grail is here. The Holy Grail is only a receptacle anywhere. Once it is gone, someone else will prepare another Holy Grail. Huh? Someone will prepare another one? Is a Holy Grail easy to make? Speaking only of the vessel, yes. Of course it requires a certain amount of skill, but without that skill the Holy Grail War would not be possible in the first place. The Holy Grail is not a cup that received the blood of God. It is based on a magical pot passed down from ancient times. If you are a mage, you should know about it. Utopia. The word is Greek and refers to a place that cannot be found or reached. It was said that an omnipotent pot that would grant any wish existed in such a place. And there were mages who tried to reproduce this omnipotent pot, which became the foundation for most mythology. There were three families: Einsburn, Makiri, and Tosaka. They spent many generations searching for the rituals to reproduce the omnipotent pot. 200 years ago, they managed to complete it. That was the first Holy Grail War, the ritual that attempted to open up a path by calling forth the omnipotent pot that was nothing more than an artificial Holy Grail. Einsburn? Is that Ilya's family? Wait, so it is actually hers. Like her family does actually have a claim to it. Correct. The Einsburns were able to use the Rheingold. Their ability to replicate the Holy Grail was unparalleled. Rheingold is in the river? The Rhine? I guess she is from Germany. But that alone cannot summon the Holy Grail. It also requires suitable land and a powerful spell. These the Tosakas and Makiris provided. At the time, the Church and the Mages Association were in the middle of a war. 200 years ago? That's too late for 30 years' war. So, we're talking early 1800s? And there's a lot of wars that were going on in late 17, early 1800s. Right. As such, a land in the Far East, where the church held no sway, seemed ideal for the ritual. Napoleon, that's what you slapped out in the middle of the Napoleonic Wars, I think. Actually, come to think of it. The Ainsburns must have anticipated something like this might happen, and invited the Tosaka clan to join forces. The Tosaka clan was the owner of the spiritual land in this area, and the master was a skilled necromancer. Without the Tosakas summoning the Holy Grail would likely have been impossible for the Ainsburns. Of course, the two families betrayed each other. Thinking the situation should be a system of checks and balances, the Tosakas brought in the Makiri family. The Makiris are a family with substantial history. They were exceptionally skilled with handling familiars. The Makiris were the ones who came up with the idea of command spells to bind the servants. So this is all just some, like, contrived invention from, like, 200 years ago. It's not some, like, supernatural, crazy ritual thing that's existed since time immemorial. Huh. Unless the three worked together to summon the Holy Grail. But the moment they succeeded, a fight to the death broke out. The first summoning the Holy Grail ended while the families were busy fighting each other. As time went on, they set down rules and called it a Holy Grail War, and eventually returned to working together, on the surface anyway. The Tosakas provide the land and the system to model the servants, and the Makiris provide the command spells to bind the servants. And then the Ainsburns provided the vessel for the Holy Grail to inhabit. That was the nature of their cooperation. I'm not sure what's so amusing about this, but the priest seems to enjoy telling me about it. But I see. They say the Holy Grail War is a ritual. I don't know, Ilya and Tosaka's families were the ones who created the whole thing. The Ainsburns prepare the Holy Grail. As Kiritsugu betrayed them last time, they have put their greatest trump card into play. Which is to say, the Ainsburn girl probably holds the Holy Grail. What? Huh? Ilya holds the Holy Grail. Oh, are you saying she possesses it? Or are you saying... Did anyone ever say the Grail had to take the form of a cup? That's weird. I don't think I saw anything among her belongings that looked like the Holy Grail. Are you satisfied? I do not know what you are agonizing over. The Holy Grail is your only solution. Now that you understand that, go home. The battle is not over. For you to walk about without Saber at your side is simply insane. That's none of your business. I'm aware Lancer's Master's still around. Hold on. There's one more thing I need to ask. Kotomine, servants disappear once the Holy Grail disappears. That's what you said, right? I did. Do you take issue with that? Yeah, big time. I know who it was, but there was an 8th servant. According to Saber, he's been in this world since the previous war. What? I can see he's shocked. Kotomine's eyes go wide. What's going on, Kotomine? I came here thinking you might know something about this. There's a servant who didn't disappear, you say. It's not so strange. The previous war ended with Saber destroying the Holy Grail. So there is one servant who remained apart from Saber. Saber disappeared on her own, but if this servant desired to remain in the world, the answer is simple. They must have supplemented magical energy by feeding on souls to stay alive these past 10 years. How many souls would that have to be, though? How'd no one notice? That's impossible. The servant was frighteningly powerful. If someone like that hung around for 10 years, someone like you or my old man would have detected them. I'm well aware. Someone was likely hiding them. Either the master or... Or what? A mage who knew about the Holy Grail War but did not become a master. I know of one person, but it is not possible. Old man Makiri has long since retired. Kotomina must be satisfied as he gets up from the sofa. This is the end of our conversation. After learning what I just have, I cannot simply dismiss this matter, given my role as overseer. I shall investigate the servant. You should concentrate on your battle against the remaining lancer. Kotomina heads to the exit, indicating there is nothing else to discuss. There's definitely nothing more to be gained by staying. I follow Kotomina out of the dark stone room. From there, he leads me to the entrance in silence. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that maybe Ilya is the Holy Grail. It would kind of make sense to an extent, like, I don't know. She does have those weird symbols that, like, appear all over her body whenever she does magic. I'm not sure if that's Grail related or not. That could be something completely different, but I think it makes sense. I leave the church. And behind me, Saber will die when she obtains the Holy Grail. I do hope you understand what that means, Sir Emiya. The priest puts that to me, maybe to make certain I remember. He watches me from the door with a condescending twist to his lips. Saber will die if she obtains the Holy Grail. I don't need anyone to remind me of that. Saber's goal is to obtain the Holy Grail only, but she doesn't want its power for herself. As long as she obtains the Holy Grail, nothing will bind Saber anymore. She'll be freed from going back to the point right before her death, and she will truly die. Why the sudden change of heart? You're not one to give warnings like that. Ooh, I'm just happy to see you supporting Saber. Think of this as a kindness. And when Saber obtains the Holy Grail, she will disappear. My advice to you is, if you wish to be with her, you should give up the Holy Grail. But if we don't get the Grail, then she's just gonna like fade away and then be drafted into the next war, right? That doesn't make sense. I can't keep Saber here without the Holy Grail. You do not need to rely on the Holy Grail. It is the same for that other servant we spoke of earlier. If you want Saber to stay, then all you need to do is feed her souls. She would choose to disappear if that were the alternative. She will disappear. And she'll have to do another Holy Grail war all over again later. You just need to keep one command spell. That way your wish will be granted. Shut up! Kotomina's words are poison. I can't get rid of them. In a rage, I smash my fist against the nearby rail, desperately hoping to clear my mind. I hear an echoing metallic clang. There's no other sound. Not so much as a car or another person passing by. Damn, why am I getting all worked up? I lean against the rail, grumbling to myself. I know I should just ignore Kotomina. But there's just some sort of power to his words. I can't ignore them. What am I to do? And what am I fighting for? In the beginning, it was stopping the Holy Grail War. But when did that become secondary? Did it happen when I started to stubbornly fight on my own? Did it happen when I realized how helpless I am and started to cooperate with Saber? Or did it happen when I made a sword for her? After our souls entwined that night in the ruins? No, that's all nonsense. I don't need to think about it. Since the beginning. My mind's been made up since I met her in the shed. The sight of her illuminated by the moonlight. That would have been fine. Had I not shared that dream of her past, and so not known any better, it would have been over without me even noticing. But I did find out. I knew I couldn't leave her alone. I started to hope I could somehow not lose her. I wish to stay this way. I want to keep seeing her smile. Ow. The image of the girl watching the sunset alone on that hill, strewn with swords. My chest hurts whenever I think of that scene. She never took any time for herself. That always bothered me. Ketsu always said not to make a girl cry. I much prefer her smiling face to her tears. That's why I was so angry Saber never smiled. But then when I told her to smile, she always replied that she would rather see me smile. It's like looking at an unreachable star through a telescope. Damn. I look up at the night sky. I stare up at the star I could never reach. A trickle. I don't know how it formed. Lost Twitch? What? That doesn't seem good. You sure about that? Yeah, it looks like it's still working on my end, I think. Let's take a look at this. It's unstable. Yes, still looks like it's fine to me. Though I'm gonna have to end soon, I think. I think I've got a storm coming, which might interrupt things. But this day is probably almost over, so let's get to the end of this day. Yes, I don't know how it formed, but I feel a tear slide down my cheek. I love her. I say it to nobody. As dense as I may be, I have to at least admit how I feel. I can't stop this feeling anymore. I realize I've fallen in love with her. So much so that thinking about her can bring me to tears. Welcome home. You were out late. Sorry? I hear Tasaka's voice as I arrive. She's standing at the entrance. Tasaka, why are you? This is not the place to talk. You look exhausted. Come, follow me. She grabs my hand and, without waiting for me to reply, drags me down the hall. And she brings me to her room. Here, tea. It must have been cold out there. She's awkward about it, but she's being considerate. Yeah, thanks. Honestly, the hot tea is comforting. It took me a good hour to walk home from the neighboring town. I walked slowly, so I was cold to the bone. So, you went to Kirei's place? As usual, she doesn't beat around the bush. I get it. Tasaka must have known what I was going to do from the very beginning. But she didn't stop me. She just waited for me to come home, and now she's even made me tea. I feel like a new man now that my mind is made up, and I appreciate Tasaka's thoughtfulness. Which is probably why I say... Yeah, I went. There's something I wanted to ask him about. I don't hide anything. I'm honest with her. I see. They don't ask for details. You're okay with that too, right? Yeah, it wasn't a fruitful conversation anyway. I just wanted to check with him about the current situation. I see. But I'm honestly surprised that Saber isn't a full servant. The strongest of all servants being the most incomplete is a bad joke. Yeah, and Saber didn't have to end up as a servant. She nods in agreement. This is funny. You and Archer might have gotten along under different circumstances. He did the same thing you did earlier. Yeah? Archer? You mean your Archer? Yep, Archer once said that he regretted his own actions, so he didn't want Saber to make the same mistake. Huh? Why would he be worried about Saber? I thought he hated Saber. Yeah, but maybe I had some kind of connection with her. First time he fought Saber, he was obviously going easy on her. I thought it was weird from the very beginning. Oh, really? But Saber said she didn't recognize Archer. Really? But Saber was a king, right? Well, being king doesn't mean you recognize literally every person in the world. She might have not known every single citizen in her country. She could have forgotten about them too. Are you saying Archer, in his life, was a citizen? Was a subject of Saber? What? You know, if you go that route, the possibilities are endless. If you can't remember someone's face, that's as good as you not knowing them. That's not necessarily true. According to legend, there were many knights that were unfortunately driven out of Camelot. He might have been one of them. If so, he might have been trying to hide his identity. Not from me, but from Saber. Tosaka's unusually chatty tonight. It's probably her way of trying to be considerate. Maybe not particularly effective, but Tosaka's a good person. She's usually pretty relentless, but she still lends a helping hand. She's got a kind of a big sister thing going on. We drink tea for a few more minutes. Tosaka turns and looks straight at me. Guess she's run out of patience. So, what do you want to do, Shiro? I'm going to take her on a date tomorrow. I can't think of anything else. It's a spur-of-the-moment idea I came up with on my way back home. But then... I don't know where the somber mood from earlier went, because Tosaka makes the most bizarre face. What? She's not that far out of my league, come on! She burst out into uncontrollable laughter. Stream froze again? I don't know what's going on with that. I think YouTube's still fine. Huh. Weird. Let's see if I can troubleshoot that at all. Where's the internet? Yeah, I don't know. Guess we're finishing this on YouTube exclusively, because I don't know what's going on with Twitch. It's probably only a few more minutes. Okay, note to self, use the Twitch VOD for the, or not, use the YouTube VOD for re-editing, not the Twitch VOD. Alright. Hold on, wait. I wasn't ready to hear this. That's unbelievable. It's so selfish of you, Shiro. Damn, I'm so dumb. I should have seen this coming. Shut up! What's wrong with me being selfish? I know this is not the time for it, but I'm not going to let you get in our way. Oh, no, Shiro. Just so funny. Tosaka slaps my back hard. She holds her stomach with her other hand. Laughing so hard, now she's nearly in tears. I think this is the worst she's ever treated me. I haven't laughed this hard in a long time. Well, I'm happy for you. None of that was funny to me, but you know, glad that you got some more laughter in your life. Well, good luck with your dates. I'm rooting for you two. Just like it says that kindly, doing a complete about face from a second ago. Yeah, I'll try my best. Honestly, that came out of left field. When she says it like that, all I can do is nod. I go back to my room. Saber's still asleep, and the house is peaceful, as if there is nothing happening. I wonder what the odds are that we get attacked on our date. It rained today, but what about tomorrow? I look up at the clouds slowly passing overhead. Unlike me, as it is, I pray for a sunny day tomorrow. Alright, there we go. That's the day. Day 13 done, I guess? Save data created. And that is where we're going to have to end it for today. Hope y'all enjoyed the stream. I guess we're down to what? Just me and... oh my goodness, there's an alarm. Hold on, let me get it off the screen. That's annoying. Okay, there we go. So, yeah. Yeah, it's just me and what was it, Lancer left? I guess we gotta be getting to a conclusion pretty soon, so I'll be looking forward to that. Obviously, date with Saber next stream should be pretty fun. I'm giving myself 40, 60 odds on getting attacked by someone at some point during the date, which will be spicy if that happens. As for the rest of this week, presuming this thunderstorm that's rolling through doesn't completely dismantle my internet or something overnight, tomorrow, the plan is Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls. Seeing as we finished Danganronpa 2 last week, I've been told the next game in the series I'm supposed to play, so that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. But anyways, until next time, I've been CMeeCraft, and catch you next stream and or video. Goodbye.